Chapter 1372. A Huge Conspiracy. Huang Yi and Nangong Sini couldn't help but look at Yang Hongwu. It would be great if he could make a move. Brother-in-law. Nangong Sini looked at Yang Hongwu and softly called out with an incomparably gentle tone. When Yang Hongwu heard this, goosebumps appeared all over his body. This woman's attitude towards him at the beginning was very disgusting. Naturally, her tone was not good. Now, she actually used such a tone. This kind of tone made Yang Hongwu a little uncomfortable. She actually called him brother-in-law. This was a little too King intimate. Nangong Sini, don't talk to me with such a tone. I'm scared. Yang Hongwu said, Senior sister, do you want to marry my husband as well? If it's senior sister, I don't mind. But if senior sister wants to become my husband's woman, then you have to call me elder sister, right? Yuji said coquettishly. Nangong Sini's face darkened when she heard this. Since when did she want to become his woman? What a joke. Nangong Sini was a proud woman. She didn't like any man, but she had to admit that Yang Hongwu was definitely an excellent man. In this Songxing continent, no one in the younger generation could be compared to him. It could be said that he was definitely the number one in the younger generation. No, it could even be said that since ancient times, no one at his age could be compared to him. If there wasn't Yuji, if there wasn't a woman by Yang Hongwu's side, Nangong Sini might really be moved. Junior sister Yuji, you're thinking too much. How could I like him? Nangong Sini said. Moreover, it's not like you don't know that my goal is to bring glory to the goddess palace and make it the number one power in the Songxing continent, and even the divine domain. Ambitious. Yang Hongwu said faintly. Why? Do you think I can't do it? Nangong Sini's face turned ugly when she heard this. No, I didn't say that. Yang Hongwu shook his head and said, All right, Sini. Huang Yi looked at Nangong Sini. Oomph. Nangong Sini snorted and didn't say anything else. Huang Yi looked at Yang Hongwu and said, Young Master Yang, you can seal Lu Shunshin and the others' cultivation and Nangong Sini, you Nangong Sini. Can you also seal those people's Nangong Sini's Nangong Sini? If you can, then the divine sword steal Nangong Sini and Nangong Sini you is Sini, Nangong Sini. Also, don't worry. If the divine sword steel falls into your hands, we won't touch it. We'll even help you fight against those who want to seize the divine sword steel. Our only request is that you give the divine sword steel to Goddess Pavilion to study for a few days. Huang Yi's idea was good. She knew that it was very difficult to get the steel. If Yang Hongwu didn't do anything, they wouldn't have a chance at all. Moreover, even if they could get the steel, it would be difficult to protect it. Moreover, they would have to face the attacks of all the strong cultivators in the world. It would be a great disaster for Goddess Palace. She didn't think that the Goddess Palace could withstand the siege of so many strong cultivators. In this way, since Goddess Palace couldn't seize the divine sword steel, they might as well let Yang Hongwu seize it. It was a good thing. First of all, Yang Hongwu wasn't from any other force. Moreover, he had a close relationship with Yuji. Yuji was a disciple of Goddess Palace. In this way, Yang Hongwu could be considered half a disciple of Goddess Palace. In addition, if Yang Hongwu got the divine sword steel, they could borrow it to study it. Therefore, if the divine sword steel fell into Yang Hongwu's hands, it would be great. It would be better than falling into the hands of Common Life Temple or other forces. Don't say any more. Yang Hongwu shook his head and said, I won't do it. I've said it before. I won't seize the divine sword steel. I won't interfere in the fight in front of you. If you want to seize the divine sword steel, do it yourselves. This is the divine sword steel. It's a supreme treasure. It's comparable to the Common Life seal. Aren't you tempted? Nangong Sini stared at Yang Hongwu in shock. She didn't believe that there would be anyone who could resist the temptation of such a heaven-defying treasure. No matter who it was, if they could obtain the sword Tao divine steel, their strength would definitely skyrocket. Also, if they could comprehend the supreme sword Tao law, they would be able to break through their shackles and enter a higher level, becoming an unparalleled expert. So what if it's a supreme treasure? I've said it before. I don't care for it. Yang Hongwu said coldly. If you want it, do it. Huang Yi was also very surprised. However, she was a smart person. Yang Hongwu didn't take action to seize the divine sword steel. Could it be that there was a secret behind it? If there was no secret, why didn't he take action when he had the secret method that could confine the cultivation of warriors? Or perhaps the secret method that could confine the cultivation of warriors had a limit. Now, Yang Hongwu had no way to use such a secret method. Husband, is the appearance of the divine sword steel a conspiracy? Yuji said at this time. She was now a disciple of the goddess palace. Moreover, the goddess palace had helped her greatly. She had to repay this kindness. Yang Hongwu was her husband. She knew what Yang Hongwu was thinking. Since Yang Hongwu didn't intervene in the fight for the divine sword steel, there must be a reason. She only thought about the divine sword steel. Although the divine sword steel was precious, it wasn't of much use to her. Of course, if she could seize it, it would be helpful to the other sisters. Yang Hongwu must have his reasons for not seizing it. Moreover, she didn't want to see the disciples of the goddess palace take risks. Therefore, she asked. Hearing Yuji's question, Yang Hongwu sighed. He was very clear about Yuji's thoughts. He said, "The appearance of the divine sword steel is a conspiracy." A conspiracy? Huang Yi's face froze when she heard this. That's impossible. What is the divine sword steel? It's a supreme treasure. Who would be willing to release such a treasure as bait to set up such a huge conspiracy? Nangong Sini and the others didn't quite believe it. Even Yuji and Bai Iran were the same. Yes, this is the divine sword steel. It's not an ordinary thing. Who would be willing to take it out? Why don't you guys take a closer look? Yang Hongwu pointed at the people who were fighting. Chapter 1373. Terrifying Devil. The blood and souls of those who were killed have merged into the divine sword steel. They were shocked when they took a closer look. Logically speaking, the divine sword steel was a supreme treasure, a sacred object. How could it devour flesh and souls? The appearance of the divine sword steel this time was not that simple. No wonder Yang Hongwu did not want to get involved. It turned out that there was a huge conspiracy behind the appearance of the divine sword steel. Is this really a conspiracy? Nangong Sini said. Who on earth is it? How could he be so generous? Huang Yi and the others were also curious. To be able to use the divine sword steel as bait, this person's strength was too strong, too terrifying. No matter who it is, it's not something you can interfere with now. Yang Hongwu said, Husband, what should we do now? Yuji asked. Leave here. Yang Hongwu did not hesitate at all. The divine sword steel obviously had an owner. Moreover, everything that happened here was probably done deliberately by that person. This was a feast of slaughter. It might even be a sacrificial ceremony. This slaughter was most likely prepared for this sacrificial ceremony. Perhaps the owner of the divine sword steel wanted to be resurrected, or perhaps it was for other reasons. All in all, Yang Hongwu had a bad feeling. This guy was very difficult to deal with. Yang Hongwu's strength had not recovered, so he did not have absolute confidence. Therefore, he did not want to take the risk. But, although they knew that this was definitely a slaughterhouse, this was the divine sword steel. Such a supreme treasure, Huang Yi still wanted to fight for it. Moreover, if Yang Hongwu could use that mysterious secret method to seal everyone's cultivation, it was still possible to seize the divine sword steel. You want to stay? Yang Hongwu said coldly. I'm telling you, a terrifying expert is coming. That person's strength is far beyond your imagination. Yang Hongwu could clearly sense that this guy should be the Purple Moon Demon King, or rather, Zetian's incarnation was more suitable. Yang Hongwu realized that this guy's strength had already reached the peak and was extremely terrifying. In this world, there were probably not many people who could be his opponent. Yang Hongwu didn't have enough confidence right now, so he didn't want to fight against the Purple Moon Demon King at this time. Expert? What expert? Could it be the owner of this divine sword Dao tablet? No, it's not. Yang Hongwu shook his head and said, Well, that guy's almost here. I have to go. I don't want to face that guy now. Yang Hongwu didn't wait for Nangong Sini and Ru Huangyi to reply. He grabbed Bai Iran and Yuji and flew up. Elder Ru, what should we do now? A disciple of the goddess palace asked. What should we do? Go, follow him. Nangong Sini said at this time. She also got up and chased after Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu's strength was very strong, but he didn't dare to stay. This showed how terrifying this person's strength was. If they stayed, they would probably die here. After a few breaths, a purple figure appeared at the place where Yang Hongwu and the others were just a moment ago. I just felt a familiar aura. The person who came was none other than the Purple Moon Demon King. The incarnation of the Purple Moon Demon King was killed by Yang Hongwu. Therefore, he naturally felt Yang Hongwu's aura, although he didn't know who Yang Hongwu was. The Purple Moon Demon King was a very powerful expert. He was extremely powerful and stood at the top of the world. Although the aura left by Yang Hongwu was familiar to the Purple Moon Demon King, his current target was not this. Compared to the divine steel of Sword Principle, this aura was not comparable. The Purple Moon Demon King looked at the divine steel of Sword Principle in the distance and narrowed his eyes. The divine steel of Sword Principle, it really is the divine steel of Sword Principle. Oh, it actually has an owner. Does it want to use the power of flesh and soul to recover? Now, Purple Moon Demon King was already standing at the peak of this world. He had sealed his cultivation. Otherwise, with his strength, he would have broken through the shackles long ago and entered the divine domain. In fact, he was also a peerless expert in the divine domain. However, because of a great battle, his strength was damaged and his injuries were severe. Therefore, he tore open the void and came to this world. After Yang Hongwu left Sky Sword Peak, he heaved a sigh of relief. He felt a terrifying aura. Yang Hongwu was also very depressed. He now guessed that the Purple Moon Demon King was most likely the incarnation of Zetian. He didn't expect that the bastard Zetian also entered this world. However, if this was really the inner world of the Life Seal, then he was much more confident in dealing with Zetian. After all, he was recognized by the Life Seal and could be said to be the owner of the seal. Even if he didn't completely control the power of the seal, once his cultivation recovered, he would be able to break the shackles and become an expert of the Tai True God realm. Then, he would truly be recognized by the Life Seal and wield the power of life. In that case, this place would become Yang Hongwu's home ground. With the home ground advantage, it would be easier for him to defeat Zetian. One must know that after fighting with Zetian for so long, Yang Hongwu always had the upper hand. It could be said that Zetian had always been defeated by him. Unfortunately, Yang Hongwu failed every time he wanted to kill Zetian. This guy was like an undying cockroach. He could not be killed no matter how hard he tried. Moreover, he would always come out of fight with Yang Hongwu. This made Yang Hongwu very angry. No one would like such a dogskin plaster. What a terrifying aura. Who is that? After Nangong Sini left, she felt a strong and domineering aura and was shocked. Even Huang, he was very shocked. She didn't expect that there would be such a terrifying expert in the life continent. It was really shocking. Moreover, this person's aura was very evil. It carried a terrifying demonic aura. It was a peerless demon. Could it be that the passage to the demon domain was broken? Elder Xiao said, "Impossible. If the passage to the demon domain was broken, we would have received the news." Huang Yi shook her head and said, Yang Hongwu was stunned. The passage to the demon domain. This made Yang Hongwu a little curious. Was the life continent connected to another world? Or was it connected to another demon domain? That person is the Purple Moon Demon King. Yang Hongwu said, "I killed one of his incarnations. My current strength is not a match for his original body. As for the passage to the demon domain, what is it?" Chapter 1374. Heaven Killing Sword Demon. It's the Purple Moon Demon King. I can't be more familiar with his aura. Yang Hongwu said, "I'm very sure of that. The world is going to be in chaos." Ru Huangyi said, "I didn't expect the Purple Moon Demon King to come out. No, we have to go back to the Goddess Palace and tell the Palace Master about this. It's not just the Purple Moon Demon King." Yang Hongwu said, "There's another expert there. Have you forgotten about the Divine Sword Steel? The owner of the Divine Sword Steel? That's right. Who is it?" Nangong Sini and the others were terrified. The Purple Moon Demon King alone was enough to set off a terrible disaster on the continent. If there was another one, this world would probably be destroyed. If I'm not wrong, this should be the heaven-killing sword demon. After a while, Ru Huangyi said, "You know?" Yang Hongwu was also stunned. Although Yang Hongwu knew that the divine sword steel was a treasure of an expert, he didn't know who that person was. However, Yang Hongwu was sure that the guy's strength wasn't much weaker than the Purple Moon Demon King's. I just remembered that the heaven-killing sword demon was a peerless sword cultivator. However, he later obtained a demonic sword and fell into the demonic path, becoming a supreme demon. Ru Huangyi said, "I'm afraid that the so-called divine sword steel is just a cover. It's not the real divine sword steel, but the heaven-killing sword demon's heaven-killing sword demon." Hearing Ru Huangyi's words, Yang Hongwu thought that it was true. The so-called divine sword steel looked like a divine steel, but in fact, it was more like a sword, a terrifying demonic sword. If that wasn't the case, Yang Hongwu wouldn't have felt the aura that made his heart palpitate. Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. This world was getting more and more interesting. It was far from being as simple as he thought. Now, the Purple Moon Demon King, or Zetian, had appeared in this world. There was also the Blood Demon, and now there was the heaven-killing sword demon. There were also some special and mysterious things. For example, the scroll of good fortune that he had obtained, and the source of all evil and curses. None of these things were simple. If this was really the inner world of the Life Seal, Yang Hongwu really didn't dare to believe it. If the Life Seal was really so powerful that it could give birth to such a powerful and terrifying thing in its inner world, then how terrifying would the real Life Seal be? On the contrary, this aroused Yang Hongwu's fighting spirit. In this world, the more powerful and interesting it was, the more beneficial it would be to him. Once his strength recovered, he would be able to reach a higher level. His foundation would be even more solid, and he would be even more powerful. In this world, it might not be impossible to break through the shackles and make a breakthrough to the realm of a primordial real god. Interesting. Yang Hongwu secretly set two goals. One was, of course, from the very beginning, to find his women. He couldn't let them be in danger. As for the second, it was to control this world. No matter whether this was the inner world of the Life Seal or not, he had to completely control it. As Yang Hongwu's goal became clear, Yang Hongwu's cultivation increased by another level. Third level Great Saint Realm. At this moment, countless thoughts flashed through Yang Hongwu's mind. It was just a matter of a breath. However, his words made Nangong Cinny roll her eyes. She said snappily, "You're still saying that it's interesting after such a thing happened? Don't you know? The appearance of these two terrifying devils. I'm afraid this world will be destroyed. In order to increase their cultivation, they would do anything. In the past, in order to increase their cultivation, the killing Heaven Sword Demon wanted to break through the shackles, and even wanted to destroy the entire Life Continent. Can you seal their cultivation and kill them?" Yellow Robe asked. "That's right. Brother-in-law, you're so strong that you can seal the cultivation base of a half-step true god expert. As long as you seal the cultivation base of those two devils, it'll be easy for you to deal with them." A disciple of the Goddess Palace said loudly. Yang Hongwu smiled bitterly and said, "It's not that simple." These girls thought too simply. He could indeed set up a formation to imprison a warrior's cultivation and dharma power, but this formation consumed a lot of energy. With Yang Hongwu's current cultivation realm, although he could set up a formation, there was no way he could imprison existences like the Purple Moon Demon King and the Heaven-Killing Sword Demon. Unless Yang Hongwu's cultivation broke through the shackles and reached the invincible Great Emperor realm, then the formation might be effective. "Husband, is there no other way to deal with these two devils?" Bai Iran asked. Yang Hongwu said, "My cultivation hasn't recovered yet, so I can't deal with the Purple Moon Demon King and the killing Heaven Sword Demon." "Recover your cultivation?" Nangong Cinny said. "Yang Hongwu, what's your original cultivation level? What do you need to recover your cultivation?" Nangong Cinny was very surprised. Yang Hongwu was only a great saint, but his combat strength was already very terrifying. After all, he could easily kill experts like Song Zizai and Lu Shenshin. Naturally, as for the world-extinguishing Dharma lightning, Nangong Sini wasn't willing to let Yang Hongwu use it. The world-extinguishing Dharma lightning was simply too terrifying. Of course, no one knew exactly how terrifying the world-extinguishing Dharma lightning was. No one dared to test it. Also, there was only one world-extinguishing Dharma lightning. My original cultivation level, Yang Hongwu said. It's the peak of the invincible Great Emperor realm. That's easy. Our goddess palace has countless resources. After so many years of accumulation, it's easy to recover your cultivation to the invincible Great Emperor realm, Elder Shao said. That's right. It's easy to create an invincible Great Emperor realm with the resources of our goddess palace, Nangong Sini nodded. It's not that simple, right? Huang Yi, on the other hand, was much more experienced than Nangong Sini and Elder Shao. Yang Hongwu said that he would be able to deal with these two devils as long as he recovered to the level of an invincible great emperor. How could it be so easy for him to recover his cultivation base? It shouldn't be that easy for Master Yang to recover his cultivation. If it was that easy, I'm afraid Master Yang's cultivation would have recovered long ago. That's right. Yang Hongwu nodded and said, if I want to recover my cultivation, I will need a huge amount of energy. This huge amount of energy resources is even more than the amount needed to create a Tai true God expert. Are you kidding? Nangong Sini said with her eyes wide open. Chapter 1375. The real heaven-devouring blood demon. Young Master Yang's foundation is solid. It's not something ordinary people can compare with. Yellow Robe said, his physical strength alone is comparable to an early Great Emperor realm expert. It's really amazing. Everyone was shocked when they heard that. His physical strength was comparable to an early-stage Emperor realm expert. How strong was he? One should know that his cultivation was only at the early Great Saint realm. Nangong Sini had already believed Yang Hongwu's words. If that was the case, how many resources would it take for Yang Hongwu to break through using the resources of the Goddess Palace? Even if all the resources of the Goddess Palace were used up, it might not be enough for Yang Hongwu to break through to the invincible Great Emperor realm. However, even if the resources of the Goddess Palace could help Yang Hongwu break through to the invincible Great Emperor realm, the Goddess Palace would definitely not pay such a huge price to give all the resources to Yang Hongwu, unless the Goddess Palace was at the end of the line and was about to be consigned to eternal damnation. However, was such a situation possible? We have to leave this place quickly. I have a bad feeling about this, Yang Hongwu said. However, at this moment, a blood fog shrouded the entire land. Yang Hongwu and the others' faces changed drastically. Everyone was instantly shrouded in the blood fog. Blood demon. It's the heaven-devouring blood demon. How can it be? The heaven-devouring blood demon has already fallen. How can it appear here? Nangong Sini exclaimed. Could it be him? Bairan said. No, it's not him. This guy should be the real heaven-devouring blood demon. Yang Hongwu shook his head. Although Hidden Dragon had obtained the inheritance of the heaven-devouring blood devil, this aura was definitely not his. He wasn't that strong. This aura was incomparably overbearing. Within this blood mist, there was a terrifying, devouring power that could even devour one's soul. If Hidden Dragon had such terrifying strength, the only people who could escape back then would probably be him and Bai Yiran. Bai Yunjian wouldn't have been able to escape. Yang Hongwu smiled bitterly. He did not expect to meet the real heaven-devouring blood demon here. This guy was most likely the real heaven-devouring blood demon. The so-called Sword Dao Divine Steel had even attracted this guy. If they had left earlier, they would not have met this guy. However, it was too late for regrets. Even if it's the heaven-devouring blood demon, his physical body was destroyed and his spiritual soul was shattered. His strength should not have fully recovered. Otherwise, he would have made a comeback. Therefore, we don't need to be afraid of him, Yellow Robe Ru said calmly. Yes, Elder Ru is right. Everyone, don't be afraid. Although the heaven-devouring blood demon is strong, that was a long time ago. Now that he has not fully recovered, we don't need to worry at all. Nangong Sini had already taken out a treasure. It turned into a huge shield and covered everyone, blocking the blood fog from devouring them. However, although the shield was powerful, it seemed that it would not be able to withstand the blood fog. After a while, the shield started to creak. Nangong's Cini struggled to hold on. She knew that she would not be able to hold on for long. The consumption was too great. If this continued, she would only be able to hold on for half an hour at most. She had to think of a way. She was afraid that they would not be able to escape in half an hour. She looked at Yang Hongwu. At this moment, only Yang Hongwu had a solution. Yang Hongwu, I can't hold on any longer. Quickly think of a way to deal with the heaven-devouring blood demon. Nangong Cini transmitted her voice to Yang Hongwu. She did not dare to say it out loud. After all, she could not let the team lose their confidence at this time. Once they lost their confidence, it would be troublesome. Yang Hongwu waved his hand, and the heavenly palace of destruction appeared. It transformed into a huge palace that enveloped everyone, keeping the blood mist at bay. The destruction palace was a supreme demonic treasure. It was formed by the combination of the heavenly bridge demon bridge and the Tao palace of death. Its power was infinite. Yang Hongwu's strength was only in the saint realm before. There was no way he could exert such great power with the destruction palace. Now that Yang Hongwu's cultivation had reached the great saint realm, the destruction palace's power was naturally much greater. As soon as the destruction palace came out, the blood fog was instantly dispersed. It formed a layer of invisible force that kept the blood fog several feet away. Now, what a treasure! It's the Tao Palace of Death. No, it's not the Tao Palace of Death. A voice sounded. The blood fog gathered together and turned into a figure. The person was wearing blood-red armor and had a pair of blood-red eyes. He looked very evil. Yang Hongwu looked at the person and narrowed his eyes. The heaven-devouring blood demon? I didn't expect that after so many years of seclusion, there would still be people who remember my name. The heaven-devouring blood demon had come this time for the sword principal tablet. When he met Yang Hongwu and the others, he just wanted to devour some blood chi and souls to recover his cultivation. Now, his cultivation had not fully recovered. In addition, there were two powerful auras in front of him. These two auras were too overbearing. If he was at his peak, he would not be afraid. But now, his cultivation had not recovered and his strength was greatly reduced. Naturally, he was no match for the two. Therefore, in order to seize the sword principal tablet, he had to recover his cultivation. At least, before entering the battlefield, he had to recover to the point where he could protect himself. Since the heaven-devouring blood demon had almost been completely destroyed in the previous battle, he had paid a huge price to start new. Naturally, he was more cautious than before. Moreover, the two auras were extremely powerful. In this world, they were definitely the pinnacle existences. If he was not confident enough, he would not take the risk. This time around, he came here to seize the divine Sword Tao steel. Another reason was that he knew clearly that the appearance of such a heaven-defying treasure would definitely cause a huge war. In such a war, countless experts would die here. In this way, he could use the blood, chi, and souls to recover his cultivation. Greed flashed in his eyes when he saw the destruction heavenly palace in Yang Hongwu's hand. The destruction heavenly palace was a supreme demonic treasure. He didn't have any powerful defensive treasures to protect himself. The destruction heavenly palace was powerful and its defense was astonishing. As long as he could seize it and refine it, his strength would definitely rise to another level. More importantly, with such a defensive supreme treasure in hand, he was confident that he could fight against the two experts who were fighting for the Sword Tao Divine Steel. There was an 80% to 90% chance that they wouldn't be able to escape. At this moment, Nangong Cini was very regretful, and so was Huang Yi. If they had not been greedy and wanted to fight for the Divine Sword Steel, they would not have wasted so much time. If they had not wasted so much time, they would not have encountered the sky-devouring blood demon and would not have been trapped here. However, it was too late to regret now. They could only hope that Yang Hongwu had a way to deal with the sky-devouring blood demon. After all, Yang Hongwu had given them too many surprises. If it had not been for Yang Hongwu, they would have been dead long ago. Therefore, in the eyes of Nangong Sini and the others, Yang Hongwu was a person who constantly created miracles. This time, they hoped that it would be no exception. If it was the sky-devouring blood demon at his peak, perhaps I wouldn't be able to do anything. However, the current sky-devouring blood demon has not completely recovered his strength, not even half of his peak cultivation. It's not impossible to deal with him. Yang Hongwu said confidently. If the sky-devouring blood demon was not a demon, Yang Hongwu would find it very difficult to deal with such a level of strength. However, the sky-devouring blood demon was a demon with boundless karma. Yang Hongwu was 90% sure that he could defeat him, and even 30% sure that he could kill him. The sky-devouring blood demon was targeting him, but Yang Hongwu was also targeting him. The sky-devouring blood demon was very powerful, but unfortunately, he was once killed, and 99% of his origin was destroyed. Now that he had made a comeback, he was far from recovering. Therefore, the sky-devouring blood demon wanted Yi Shiwen's origin blood essence to recover his strength and recover his origin. Yang Hongwu even guessed that the sky-devouring blood demon left behind his inheritance. For example, the sky-devouring evil spirit demon obtained the sky-devouring blood demon's inheritance. Perhaps the sky-devouring evil spirit demon did not have good intentions. After those who obtained the sky-devouring evil spirit demon's inheritance cultivated to a certain level, the sky-devouring evil spirit demon would be like harvesting leeks. If Yang Hongwu guessed correctly, there should be more than one blood demon's inheritance in this mortal continent. The sky-devouring evil spirit demon was not the only one who obtained the blood demon's inheritance. There should be others. However, all of this was not something that Yang Hongwu should be concerned about. At present, Yang Hongwu had an opportunity to break through again. That was to suppress the sky-devouring blood demon and devour him. If he could devour and refine the origin power of the sky-devouring blood demon, Yang Hongwu's cultivation could definitely go up another level and enter the Great Sage intermediate realm. Yang Hongwu's words made the sky-devouring blood demon's face sink. He was unhappy. This kid was just a Great Sage realm. Although he was a peerless genius, the sky-devouring blood demon did not put him in his eyes. So what if his talent was outstanding and his physique was heaven-defying? After all, he had not grown up yet. If he could reach the invincible Great Emperor realm, the sky-devouring blood demon would really be afraid. Now, Yang Hongwu was just an initial Great Sage realm. Although his cultivation had not fully recovered, he was also an invincible Great Emperor. Coupled with his special cultivation technique, his combat power could definitely kill a half-step true god expert. If it was some powerful half-step true god expert, he might be able to resist for a while. However, if it was an ordinary half-step true god expert, he could easily kill him. This was the confidence of the sky-devouring blood demon. If he did not have this ability, he would not be invincible in the world. Kid, you talk big. No one has ever dared to speak like this in front of me. The sky-devouring blood demon looked at Yang Hongwu and said coldly, "You're just a Great Sage realm expert. Relying on your good aptitude, you actually dare to be so arrogant. You're just a stray dog. How dare you be so arrogant?" Yang Hongwu looked at the sky-devouring blood demon contemptuously and said, "If you offer your soul imprint now and make a great path blood oath to become my slave, I can spare your life." Chapter 1377. Furious blood demona cloud of blood mist turned into a ferocious giant beast and charged towards Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu snorted coldly and did not take it to heart. He allowed the giant beast to attack the Destruction Sky Palace. Damn it! Damn it! The giant beast formed by the blood mist could not break the defense of the Destruction Sky Palace, which made the sky-devouring blood demon furious. Formation rise. With Yang Hongwu's shout, a formation was set up with the Destruction Sky Palace as the core. This formation was a demon refining formation with the Destruction Sky Palace as the core and the Red Lotus of Hellfire as the auxiliary. In addition, the demon devouring rune was on the side. Yang Hongwu set up this formation to consume a lot of energy. He wanted to kill and devour the sky-devouring blood demon in one fell swoop, so that his cultivation could break through the shackles and enter the intermediate Great Saint realm. Formation: he's an array master. The sky-devouring blood devil's expression changed slightly. He was also an array master, and a top-notch one at that. His blood-refining grand array was extremely powerful. However, it wasn't easy to set up a blood-refining grand array. It needed time to prepare. However, this brat had actually managed to set up a spirit formation in such a short period of time. Furthermore, this spirit formation gave him a life-threatening feeling. This spirit formation was definitely not simple. However, so what if it was a formation? He did not believe that a mere Great Saint realm martial artist could set up any kind of formation. As long as he was careless, he could break this formation. The sky-devouring blood demon waved his hand, and a war saber appeared in his hand. It was a blood-red war saber. This was his bloodthirsty Godslayer saber, a supreme demon weapon. It was indestructible, and there was nothing it could not break. In the past, he relied on this bloodthirsty Godslayer saber to kill countless experts. Bloodthirsty Godslayer saber, open. He roared and waved his war saber. A blood-red saber light slashed towards the Destruction Sky Palace. Boom! With a loud bang, a vast amount of energy collided with the heavenly palace of destruction. A dazzling light burst out, and the terrifying energy burst out, shattering the surrounding vegetation. Yang Hongwu and the others, who were within the defense of the Palace of Heaven of Destruction, felt a huge impact. As the master of the Palace of Heaven of Destruction, Yang Hongwu was naturally the first to bear the brunt of the impact. As for the others, they did not suffer any impact. They were just slightly shaken. Yang Hongwu snorted. The power of this attack was indeed terrifying. The sky-devouring blood devil was indeed a peerless devil. Although his cultivation was far from recovering, the power of this attack was too strong. If Yang Hongwu had not prepared beforehand, he would not have been able to withstand this attack. Are you all right? Seeing Yang Hongwu like this, Nangong Sini asked worriedly. It's fine. Yang Hongwu shook his head. He then looked at the sky-devouring blood devil and said coldly, "It's impolite not to reciprocate. Take my attack too." As soon as Yang Hongwu finished speaking, he formed a seal with his hands. A fiery red light appeared. It was a flame. The flame condensed into a fiery lotus. The fiery lotus instantly exploded and rushed towards the sky-devouring blood devil. The sky-devouring blood devil felt a great threat. His eyes widened. How could he not recognize this aura? Karmic fire of the red lotus. How is this possible? How can you have the karmic fire of the red lotus? He cried out. The karmic fire of the red lotus was the legendary karmic fire of the red lotus. Only the legendary karmic fire of the red lotus could pose such a great threat to him. Who is this kid? He even has the karmic fire of the red lotus? Could this guy be the illegitimate son of God? Sensing the great threat, the sky-devouring blood devil quickly defended himself. He raised the bloodthirsty Godslayer blade in his hands and slashed out. A huge blade light slashed towards a flame. The sky-devouring blood devil did not hold back. Although he did not use all of his strength, he used 80% of it. This slash was enough to kill a half-step true God expert. He thought that the slash would extinguish the flame completely. However, things did not go as he wished. Although the slash was powerful and terrifying, it did not extinguish the karmic fire of the red lotus. The blade light pierced through the flame and split it into two. After it was split, it condensed back together. Seeing this scene, the heaven-devouring blood demon was dumbfounded. Seeing this lump of flame continue to rush toward him, his expression changed greatly. This was the karmic fire of the red lotus. It was not an ordinary flame. The karmic fire of the red lotus was terrifying not because of its destructive power, but because it specialized in dealing with karmic power. As long as one had karmic power, there was no way to extinguish it. The greater the karmic power, the bigger and more terrifying the flame. What kind of person was he? The sky-devouring blood devil. Countless people had died in his hands. He grew up in a sea of blood. He was injured and stained with blood. He had devoured countless souls. Therefore, his karmic power was terrifying. Once a person like him was infected by the karmic fire, it would be terrifying. That was why he was so terrifying. Damn it, he was regretting it now. He wanted to devour Yang Hongwu to increase his cultivation. He thought that he had found a sheep. He did not expect that Yang Hongwu was a ferocious tiger. Moreover, Yang Hongwu was the overlord of the ferocious tigers. He was the Tiger King. Blood Sea Sky. The karmic fire of the Red Lotus was terrifying. However, it was not impossible to deal with it. The sky-devouring blood devil roared and waved his hand. The entire sky was filled with blood-red energy, forming a huge wave. It was like a sea of blood. The blood-red energy surged and rushed towards the flame. When the sea of blood collided with the fire lotus, a sizzling sound was heard. When the sea of blood came into contact with the fire lotus, it was burned. The power of the sea of blood was evaporated. However, the fire lotus was also being consumed. The sky-devouring blood devil heaved a sigh of relief. The fire lotus was just a flower. With the power of his sea of blood, it was not difficult to extinguish the flame. However, the consumption was huge. The sky-devouring blood devil was depressed. The sea of blood was his source of energy. A mere ball of fire had already exhausted him greatly. Who knew if this little bastard had any other trump cards? Could he release an even greater amount of karmic fire? However, the sky-devouring blood devil guessed that this kid was not strong enough. He would not be able to hold on for long. Chapter 1378. Breaking the formation in order to seize such a defensive demonic treasure. The devouring heaven blood devil had to take a risk. If he succeeded, the benefits would be huge. If he failed, there wouldn't be too much loss. The devouring heaven blood devil had the confidence to retreat. He didn't think that a mere great saint realm martial artist could deal with him. I can also set up a formation. The devouring heaven blood devil's eyes shot out a terrifying cold light. The formation set up by Yang Hongwu was extremely powerful. Moreover, his karmic fire attack was also very shocking. However, the devouring heaven blood devil was invincible in the past. How could he not have a trump card? The devouring heaven blood devil stretched out his hands, and something appeared in his hands. It was a formation plate, the formation plate of the blood refining great formation. As his most fundamental trump card, how could he not have the formation plate of the blood refining great formation? He had refined several array discs for the blood refining great array, just in case. Blood refining great formation, rise. The devouring heaven blood devil roared, and a huge formation appeared. The entire sky seemed to be shrouded by a layer of blood-red light. This formation could be said to be covering the sky. Seeing this, the faces of Nangong Sini and the others changed drastically. They were extremely worried. Yang Hongwu, what should we do now? The devouring heaven blood devil actually set up the blood refining great formation. This is the blood refining great formation. Yang Hongwu smiled faintly and wasn't worried. If he hadn't broken through before, Yang Hongwu wouldn't have enough confidence to face this blood refining great formation. But now, his cultivation had broken through the shackles and entered the great saint realm. He also had the fire lotus. Therefore, before this, Yang Hongwu had concocted quite a number of formation-breaking pills and restriction-breaking pills. These pills were all emperor-grade pills, not the same grade as before. Formation-breaking pills and restriction-breaking pills with 100% emperor-grade pills were extremely powerful. Yang Hongwu was confident that there was no formation that he couldn't break in the common people's continent. Therefore, when the devouring heaven blood devil was setting up the formation, he didn't stop him at all. In fact, if Yang Hongwu wanted to, he could totally stop the devouring heaven blood devil from setting up the blood refining great formation. The reason why he did not stop Yang Hongwu was because he wanted to completely destroy the heaven-devouring blood demon. Furthermore, setting up the blood refining grand array consumed a large amount of mental energy. Furthermore, the blood refining grand array was connected to the heaven-devouring blood demon. If the array disk of the blood-refining grand array was destroyed by Yang Hongwu, the heaven-devouring blood demon would definitely suffer a backlash. If the heaven-devouring blood devil did not set up a formation, it would not be easy for Yang Hongwu to deal with him and devour him. However, it was different with this formation. As long as the formation was broken and the disk array was destroyed, it would have a great impact on the heaven-devouring blood devil. Teat bees, teat. Yang Hongwu didn't say anything, but Yuji said. Her tone was full of confidence towards Yang Hongwu. That's the blood-refining great formation. Rumor has it that the devouring heaven blood devil relied on the blood-refining great formation to kill countless experts, including peak half-step true God realm experts. Nangong's Cine frowned. She didn't believe Yuji's words. Yang Hongwu was Yuji's husband. Of course, she believed in Yang Hongwu. Once a woman got married, she would blindly trust her husband. Even Huang, he didn't believe it. After all, the blood-refining great formation of the devouring heaven blood devil was famous in the past. It was one of the most terrifying great formations. Believe in him. I hope so. Nangong Cine and Huang, he looked at each other. They had no other choice but to rely on Yang Hongwu. If he failed, everyone would be finished. Yang Hongwu looked at the devouring heaven blood devil. At this moment, the devouring heaven blood devil had finished setting up the formation. Blood devil, you're setting up the formation too slowly. Yang Hongwu sneered. Brat, you're too arrogant. The heaven-devouring blood demon was infuriated when he heard this. This little bastard actually did not put him in his eyes and actually dared to ridicule him. He was furious. He was the heaven-devouring blood demon. When had he ever been so cowardly? When had he been looked down upon like this? Moreover, the other party was just a mere eminent saint stage cultivator. Wait a minute. Let's see if he can still laugh. The devouring heaven blood devil waved his hand, and the blood-refining great formation was activated. A terrifying power erupted. The blood-refining great formation could trigger the blood of a martial artist. The strange aura and the mysterious rhythmic rhythm were like a human's heartbeat. It caused the blood to flow faster and the blood to erupt. The stronger one was, the harder it was to suppress. This was the terrifying part of the blood-refining great formation. Once the blood of a martial artist couldn't be suppressed, his body would explode and he would die. However, Yang Hongwu didn't stop the devouring heaven blood devil from activating the blood-refining great formation. Instead, he looked at the devouring heaven blood devil with ridicule. Your formation doesn't seem to have any effect. Yang Hongwu smiled faintly. He had seen the blood-refining formation before. Back then, the evil spirit of the hidden dragon had integrated into the blood-refining formation and became its erase spirit. It was extremely powerful and was stronger than the current blood-refining formation set up by the sky-devouring blood demon. Although the sky-devouring blood demon was the real creator of the blood-refining formation, it did not have an erase spirit after all. Any formation would be much more powerful once it had an erase spirit. Although the array disk of this blood-refining formation was extremely powerful and was a supreme treasure, and the person who set up the formation was also very powerful, this formation was still inferior to the one that the evil spirit of the hidden dragon had integrated into the blood-refining formation as its erase spirit. Back then, the blood-refining great formation of the hidden dragon's evil spirit couldn't pose a threat to Yang Hongwu. How could this blood-refining great formation do the same? Impossible. This is impossible. How can my blood-refining great formation have no effect? Seeing that Yang Hongwu and the others were not affected by the blood-refining great formation, the devouring heaven blood devil felt that he was about to collapse. The blood-refining great formation was one of his greatest trump cards. Although this blood-refining great formation did not erupt with the true power of the blood-refining great formation, it was still very powerful. It was at least 50% of its peak power. Such power was enough to trigger the chi and blood of a half-step true God realm warrior. However, it had lost its effect on Yang Hongwu. How could the devouring heaven blood devil understand this? Your strength is too weak and the level of your formation is too poor. It's just a blood-refining great formation. Watch me break it, Yang Hongwu said. He stretched out his right hand, and a few elixirs appeared in his palm. Then, Yang Hongwu channeled his spiritual power into the formation-breaking elixirs. In the next moment, Yang Hongwu's spiritual power erupted, and the formation-breaking elixirs flew out like meteors. Then, Yang Hongwu formed a seal with both hands and launched a series of seals. Chapter 1379. Sea of Blood Kacha. Kacha. A crisp sound was heard as the light instantly tore the blood-refining array apart. The blood-refining array was torn apart like a piece of paper. Puff! As the blood-refining grand array was torn apart, the owner of the array, the heaven-devouring blood demon, immediately suffered a backlash. He spat out a mouthful of blood, his face pale. Impossible, my array, my blood-refining grand array. How could it be destroyed so easily? Devouring heaven blood demon's eyes widened. He couldn't believe it all. This was the blood-refining array that he was proud of. No one had ever really cracked it. However, it was easily cracked by Yang Hongwu, a great Sage Realm martial artist. Amazing, the array has been destroyed. Unlike the heaven-devouring blood devil, the women who were defending the heavenly palace of destruction were pleasantly surprised. Yang Hongwu's strength had really surprised them. The blood-refining grand formation was one of the most powerful trump cards of the heaven-devouring blood devil. It was the legendary blood-refining grand formation. They had never thought that it would be so vulnerable in front of Yang Hongwu. Heaven-devouring blood demon, what other tricks do you have? Yang Hongwu looked coldly at the heaven-devouring blood demon and said, if that's all you have, then you will die here today. Such arrogance, little bastard. Although I don't know what method you use to break my formation, I will kill you all today. You won't be able to escape. The heaven-devouring blood demon looked at Yang Hongwu with murderous intent. The flames of anger burned fiercely, and his eyes were filled with an evil light. Yang Hongwu felt a sense of crisis. The heaven-devouring blood demon was not simple and had many trump cards. Yang Hongwu was sure of this. After all, he was an ancient expert, a peerless demon. It would be strange if he could be killed so easily. Therefore, Yang Hongwu had expected the heaven-devouring blood demon to have other tricks up his sleeve. However, Yang Hongwu did not know what those tricks were. Nevertheless, Yang Hongwu was not worried at all. Although the heaven-devouring blood demon was powerful, Yang Hongwu was not to be trifled with. His current strength was in the Great Saint Realm, which was enough to defeat an invincible Great Emperor Realm expert. With the power of the array, killing a half-step True God expert would not be difficult. In addition, he had the Dragon Gate, Scroll of Good Fortune, and Red Karmic Fire Lotus. Yang Hongwu did not think that anyone could pose a threat to him. Blood Sea, come out! With a shout, the heaven-devouring blood demon's body underwent a transformation. His entire being transformed into a sea of blood, which instantly enveloped Yang Hongwu and the others. The entire space had been sealed off by the sea of blood formed by the sky-devouring blood demon. Yang Hongwu found that his spiritual power and divine sense couldn't penetrate it. It could be said that this space had been completely sealed off by the sky-devouring blood demon. There was no way to communicate with the outside world. It would be a huge problem to leave this place. What should we do? The female disciples of the goddess palace were worried. Facing such a powerful enemy, they had no idea what to do. They could only look at Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu was their only pillar. If Yang Hongwu could not do anything, then they could only wait for death. Rumor has it that the common people's continent was formed by an invincible supreme being's body. The heaven-devouring blood demon was formed by the invincible supreme being's blood. It formed a blood sea, which contains an enormous amount of evil power. Huang Yi said, the real heaven-devouring blood demon is very terrifying. Rumor has it that as long as the blood sea is not destroyed, he will not die. Moreover, as long as there is a blood god, he will not die. It can be said that the real heaven-devouring blood demon is an immortal existence. No matter who it is, even the supreme god of the true god domain, they will not be able to kill the heaven-devouring blood demon. Yang Hongwu heard this. It reminded him of a person in the untainted three realms. That was the Nether River Old Ancestor in the Blood Sea of Nether. Although that guy was not a sage, he was very powerful. He could be said to be the strongest person under the sage in the untainted three realms. He was the real Blood Sea. He would not die as long as the Blood Sea was not destroyed. What was the relationship between the heaven-devouring blood demon and the Nether River Old Ancestor? Yang Hongwu thought that it would be surprising if this guy was also the Nether River Patriarch who had come to this space. However, Yang Hongwu shook his head. This guy should not be the Nether River Old Ancestor. If he was the Nether River Old Ancestor, then he should have a fire lotus in his hands. That was the 12th grade red lotus of fire, which was one of the most precious treasures of the Nether River Old Ancestor. In the untainted three realms, if the Nether River Old Ancestor did not have the 12th grade red lotus of fire to suppress his fate, the Azura clan and the Hades sect that he founded would have been destroyed. Although the heaven-devouring blood demon in front of him was powerful, he was still far from the Nether River Old Ancestor. The Nether River Old Ancestor was powerful, but he had his own foundation. Moreover, he also knew his own limitations. On the contrary, although the heaven-devouring blood demon was very powerful and used to be the overlord of this world, he did not know his own limitations. He thought that he was invincible, which led to his destruction. However, Yang Hongwu also had some doubts. Could this guy be related to the Nether River Old Ancestor? After all, Yang Hongwu also came from the untainted three realms. He had also met many experts from the untainted three realms. Xian Ming and Pan and I were his women, and Pan and I was the most powerful one among them. Moreover, Pan and I was not originally from the untainted three realms. She was just recultivating in the untainted three realms. Many people were like this. Could it be that the Nether River Old Ancestor was also a peerless expert who was reincarnated in the untainted three realms to recultivate? Thinking of this, Yang Hongwu shook his head. Although this was very possible, now was not the time to think about these questions. I didn't think that you would know something about me. I'm really impressed. Since you know that I won't die as long as the Blood Sea exists, this is my Blood Sea. This is only a part of it, but it's enough to devour all of you. If you surrender voluntarily, I can give you a chance. The Blood Devil condensed a huge blood-red face in the air. If I'm not wrong, you're not the real heaven-devouring blood demon, right? Yang Hongwu looked indifferent. He did not take the heaven-devouring blood demon's threats seriously. You're not qualified to threaten me. Do you really think that I can't deal with this Blood Sea? Chapter 1380. Dragon's Genius. This was a secret that no one knew except for him. I'll let you have a taste of my Blood Sea. The Blood Sea approached Yang Hongwu's heavenly palace of destruction. It kept boiling as if it wanted to melt the heavenly palace of destruction completely. When Yang Hongwu saw this, he chuckled. He lifted his right hand, and a vortex appeared in his palm. This vortex erupted with terrifying devil chi and condensed into a rune. It was the devil-devouring rune. As soon as the demon-devouring rune appeared, it formed a terrifying suction force. The demon-devouring rune instantly fused with the Blood Sea, devouring the power of the Blood Sea in a frenzy. Yang Hongwu also condensed an incarnation. It was the incarnation of the devouring true body. There were ancient runes on its body. These ancient runes had the same terrifying devouring power as the devouring mark. What is this? What a terrifying demonic aura. At this time, Nangong Sini was shocked. She looked at Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu's devouring devil mark contained a terrifying devil chi. This devil chi was definitely not ordinary. Could it be that Yang Hongwu was a peerless devil? You can't be a devil, right? Senior sister, you're overthinking things. Yuji said, my husband isn't a devil. He merely refined a demonic treasure that happens to be able to restrain demonic cultivators. Oh, I see. Nangong Sini stopped talking, but she was still worried. Outside, the sky-devouring blood devil was dumbfounded. The appearance of the demon-devouring rune and the devouring real body had terrified him to the extreme. The demon-devouring rune was madly devouring the power of his Blood Sea without any limit, and the devouring real body was the same. If this continued, the power of his blood sea would not be limitless. This was something he had never thought of. This was like digging out his roots. Once the sea of blood was completely devoured, he would have no more capital. When the sea of blood dried up, he would die completely. He didn't want to die. Damn it! What is this? At that moment, the heaven-devouring blood demon was like a weak young woman that was being bullied. He screamed his sharp voice. The heaven-devouring blood demon waved his bloodlust godslayer blade and turned it into a blade light, slashing at the demon-devouring rune. However, there was no way it could shake the demon-devouring rune. Instead, it set off a huge wave of blood, sending the power of the blood sea into the demon-devouring rune even faster. Yang Hongwu's devouring true body was devouring the blood sea's power crazily. At this moment, Yang Hongwu devoured the majestic energy. This majestic energy made Yang Hongwu feel comfortable all over. The bones of his original body creaked. Then, a powerful aura erupted from Yang Hongwu's body. He had broken through. Yang Hongwu's cultivation base had once again broken through to the 4th level Great Saint stage from the 3rd level Great Saint stage. Yang Hongwu was feeling good, but the heaven-devouring blood devil was in a miserable state. His sea of blood had been devoured in a short period of time. One should know that this was his origin energy. He had accumulated the power of the blood sea for countless years. It was his foundation. Back then, when he was besieged by countless experts, he had only used 30% of the blood sea's power. Now, he had used up 10% of the blood sea's power in just a few breaths. How could he not be frightened? Blood sea keep. At this moment, the heaven-devouring blood demon could not be bothered anymore. This fella Yang Hongwu was way too creepy and scary. He wasn't someone he could deal with now. Unless he was at his peak, he wouldn't be able to do anything to Yang Hongwu. Instead, he would be devoured or even killed. The heaven-devouring blood devil wanted to keep the blood sea, but Yang Hongwu wouldn't let him do as he wished. Where else could he find such a good opportunity? Such majestic and pure energy was very rare. How could Yang Hongwu let it go? Seal. His real body formed a seal with both hands, and a huge seal appeared. This was the demon's sealing talisman, the demon suppressing seal. A huge talisman, the demon's sealing talisman, and the demon's suppressing seal appeared in the void, suppressing the blood sea. Damn it! The heaven-devouring blood devil was even more terrified. Where did this little bastard come from? He was so terrifying. The demon's sealing talisman seemed to be very similar to the dragon's secret sealing technique. Moreover, he could feel the faint bloodline of dragons in Yang Hongwu's body. Could this guy be a giant dragon? But even if he was a dragon, he couldn't be so terrifying. Could he be a dragon from the upper realm? Moreover, he had the royal bloodline of the dragons. The heaven-devouring blood devil had just been born. Although he had been hiding, he still had some understanding of the outside world. He only knew that there was a dragon domain in the mortal continent, and this dragon domain was one of the strongest forces in the mortal continent. In the ancient times, it was very terrifying. At that time, he had also encountered dragons. He couldn't help but admit that the dragons were very powerful. If it wasn't for his strange power and the secret technique to control blood, he wouldn't dare to fight against the dragons. The dragons were too terrifying. Moreover, he didn't know how many terrifying experts were among the dragons. Dragons were legendary divine beasts. Although his secret technique could control blood, its influence on the ancient divine beasts was limited. The more noble the bloodline, the more powerful the divine beast, the weaker his influence would be. He had received a piece of news. In the mortal continent, there was a peerless genius among the dragons called Lu Li. This Lu Li's bloodline was rumored to be the noblest and purest in the history of the dragons. Even that Lu Li's bloodline was more noble than the ancestral dragons who had ascended to the divine realm and created the mortal continent. If that was the case, then his blood ability mystic technique would not be able to affect that person. At that time, the reason why he was almost killed was because there was an expert who practiced the secret technique of sealing dragons. It affected his blood sea and led to his defeat. Could it be that the young man in front of him was Luli of the Dragons? You're Luli of the Dragons? The heaven-devouring blood devil suddenly said. Yang Hongwu was a little surprised. He didn't expect that the heaven-devouring blood devil would recognize him as Luli. Not only was Yang Hongwu surprised, even Nangong Sini was a little surprised. Yang Hongwu, you're Luli? That's not right. I heard that Luli is a woman. Nangong Sini said. I'm not Luli. Yang Hongwu looked at the heaven-devouring blood devil and said, You want to divert my attention and then break free from my control. Isn't it too simple? Although he didn't understand why the heaven-devouring blood devil would recognize him as Luli, Yang Hongwu wouldn't let him go. Chapter 1381. Blood Demons, Self-Destruction, Hee. Yang Hongwu smirked coldly. I have the upper hand now. Do you think I will let you go just because you want me to? What a joke. What do you want? Heaven-devouring blood demon's face sank. He wanted to break free from Yang Hongwu's devouring, but he couldn't. The heaven-devouring blood demon, was being threatened by someone. Although he was furious, there was nothing he could do. At this moment, since there was no way to break free, he could only compromise. You're asking me what I want. Yang Hongwu smirked. Weren't you arrogant just now? Now you're begging for mercy? TSK. You're the famous heaven-devouring blood demon. Kid, do you really want to fight to the death with me? When the heaven-devouring blood demon heard this, he couldn't care less. He didn't have much time left. It had only been a short while, but his blood sea had been devoured quite a bit. If this continued, his blood sea would be devoured completely, and he would be finished. Fight to the death. Yang Hongwu laughed. Let me tell you, you're not qualified. Today, you must die here. You forced me to do this. Heaven-devouring blood demon was furious. His face was ferocious, and he was extremely furious. Heaven-devouring blood demon was filled with madness. He knew that if he didn't do anything, his blood sea would be devoured completely. Once his blood sea dried up, he would be finished. Hence, he had to think of a way to break free from Yang Hongwu's devouring power. The only thing he could do now was to detonate part of his blood sea to break free from the devouring power. With a thought, he moved his primordial spirit to one side. The part of his blood sea that was near the demon-devouring mark and the devouring real body exploded instantly. There was a loud explosion. An earth-shattering power burst out. This power was the self-destruction of half of heaven-devouring blood demon's blood sea. How powerful was the heaven-devouring blood devil? His blood sea contained a terrifying amount of energy, far surpassing that of a half-step true divinity expert. So when his half of the blood sea's energy erupted, it was like an atomic bomb had exploded, destroying this space. The demon-devouring rune and the devouring real body that were close to the blood sea were the first to bear the brunt of the impact. The demon-devouring runes were shattered, turning into runes. Meanwhile, the devouring avatar that Yang Hongwu had condensed completely collapsed, vanishing from the world. Yang Hongwu's true self suffered a great backlash from the Destruction Heaven Palace. He spat out a mouthful of blood with a pale face. In addition, the Destruction Heaven Palace had also suffered a huge impact. Therefore, this time, Yang Hongwu had suffered a huge amount of damage. On the other hand, the women in the Heavenly Palace of Destruction were unharmed. Husband. This sudden change of events had caught Yuji and the others off guard. Bai Iran and Yuji were extremely worried. They knew that the demon-devouring rune and the devouring real body were closely related to Yang Hongwu. Now that the devouring real body was completely destroyed and the demon-devouring rune was scattered, how could the backlash and impact on Yang Hongwu be small? I'm fine. I'm just injured. Yang Hongwu swallowed an elixir and shook his head. He had not expected the sky-devouring blood demon to be able to self-detonate the blood sea under his control. For the sky-devouring blood demon, it had paid a huge price. More than half of the blood sea's energy had exploded. Yang Hongwu had to admit that the sky-devouring blood demon was indeed a ruthless and decisive person. When there was no other way, it had decisively abandoned more than half of the blood sea's energy to break free from the demon devouring rune and the devouring real body. Not only had it escaped, but it had also caused great damage to Yang Hongwu. Although Yang Hongwu had broken through a small bottleneck in his cultivation this time, compared to his current injuries, it could be said that the gains did not make up for the losses. His current injuries were very serious, especially the impact on his soul. It was almost impossible for him to recover in a short time. This made Yang Hongwu particularly angry. However, Yang Hongwu would not show any of this on his face. It's a pity that the sky-devouring blood demon has escaped. Yang Hongwu murmured. Bai Yiran and Yuji knew that Yang Hongwu's words were for the people of the Goddess Palace to hear. In addition, there were several powerful auras that were not far away. Yang Hongwu had felt these powerful auras when the sky-devouring blood demon had self-detonated. These auras were very special. Yang Hongwu could not be more familiar with them. It was the aura of dragons. That was the bloodline of dragons. Therefore, Yang Hongwu was sure that these people should be people of the dragons. It's good that you're fine, Nangong Sini said. The sky-devouring blood demon is so powerful. So many experts besieged him back then, but they still could not kill him. Now, you alone can force the sky-devouring blood demon to such a state. This is already very impressive. It can be said that no one has ever done this before. Yang Hongwu just smiled at Nangong Sini's flattery. Now that you're injured, and there are many people watching in the dark, we have to quickly leave this place and return to the Goddess Palace. Nangong Sini looked at Yang Hongwu and said, "What do you think? I'm afraid we can't leave." Yang Hongwu smiled bitterly. Someone is coming, and they're very strong. Nangong Sini and Nangong Sini's faces darkened. This was not good news. Moreover, they did not feel the other party's aura and presence. This meant that the other party was not weak. Could it be people of the sky-devouring blood demon? Nangong Sini's tone was very worried. If it was people of the sky-devouring blood demon, then things would be troublesome. They really did not have any confidence against the sky-devouring blood demon. It shouldn't be. Yang Hongwu shook his head and said, "If I'm not wrong, it should be people of the dragons." Dragons? Dragons have also come out? Nangong Sini was obviously shocked. However, as long as it was not people of the sky-devouring blood demon, then it was the best news. Although the dragons were overbearing, they would not kill the innocent. However, Nangong Sini and Nangong Sini did not expect that the Sword Dao Divine Steel would attract even the dragons. It was said that there were countless treasures among the dragons. In the Dragon Palace, there were countless treasures. The dragons did not care about treasures at all. Even ordinary emperor weapons were not worthy of their attention. Moreover, under normal circumstances, the Dragon Clan would not appear in the world. In the past 1,000 years, the only one who appeared in the Dragon Clan was Long Liuli of the Dragon Clan. Long Liuli was a peerless genius of the Dragon Clan and was the most outstanding genius of the Dragon Clan. As for the other members of the Dragon Clan, there was no news of them appearing in the world. Chapter 1382. Powerhouses of the Dragon Race? No, it's not just one person. Yang Hongwu said, "Moreover, the aura of these people is extremely evil. It's very annoying." More than one person? Evil aura? Nangong Sini was somewhat puzzled. Dragons, evil aura, and more than one person. That definitely wasn't Dragon Lu Li. Dragon Lu Li was the pride of dragons. Her aura was righteous. It was absolutely impossible for her to cultivate an evil cultivation technique. If that was the case, then it wasn't Dragon Lu Li. How is their strength? Yellow Clothes asked. Very strong. My strength is damaged now. I'm not their opponent, Yang Hongwu said. In fact, if it was only Yang Hongwu, Yuji, and Bai Yiran, escaping would definitely not be a problem. However, with the addition of the female disciples of Goddess Palace, it would be troublesome. If he directly left, it would be fine. However, if he did that, Yuji would definitely feel uncomfortable. She definitely couldn't watch the disciples of Goddess Palace being killed. Therefore, this was the most troublesome matter. In the next moment, two people and a dragon appeared. The two people were a man and a woman. The man looked ferocious, and the woman was beautiful. As for the flood dragon, it was a black dragon filled with evil aura. Yang Hongwu knew that the two people were dragons. As for the black dragon, it was only a low-level flood dragon. Humans. The man saw Nangong, Sini, and the other girls, and his eyes lit up. Submit to me and be my slaves. When the girls heard that, they were furious. What arrogance! You actually want our disciples of Goddess Palace to be your slaves. Nangong Sini said angrily. No one dares to not listen to me. Ao Haitian. If you don't agree, then die. All of you will die. The man said coldly, as if he was the most powerful person in the world. His tone was even more arrogant than the heaven-devouring blood devil. I shall see what sort of ability you have to be this arrogant. Nangong Sini was infuriated. She unsheathed the sword in her hand. The sword light flashed and turned into sword shadows that covered the sky. They enveloped Ao Haitian. It could be seen that Nangong Sini's strength had improved by quite a bit. At the very least, she was much stronger than before. It seemed that she had benefited a lot from the battle with the heaven-devouring blood devil. However, Yang Hongwu could tell that although Nangong Sini's strength had broken through quite a bit, she was still quite a distance away from the half-step true god realm. She was far from being a match for that man. Petty tricks. Ao Haitian snorted softly. His eyes were filled with contempt. He raised his right hand, which transformed into a dragon claw and instantly blocked Nangong Sini's attack. The sword aura clashed with the dragon claw, causing sparks to fly all over the sky. The powerful force instantly sent Nangong Sini flying. Sini. Elder Shao flew up and caught Nangong Sini. Seeing that Ao Haitian still wanted to kill her, Huang Yi moved. She transformed into a ray of light and charged toward Ao Haitian. Huang Yi's strength was at the half-step true god realm. Although her aptitude was a notch lower than Nangong Sini's, her battle prowess was more than a notch higher. After all, there was a difference of a realm. Naturally, their strengths could not be compared. You're a bit stronger. However, it's still not enough. Ao Haitian's tone was arrogant. His right hand also transformed into a dragon claw. With a swipe, the space was torn apart. The power of the swipe instantly erupted. Like a sharp blade, it cut through the void and heavily bombarded Huang Yi's body. Although Huang Yi managed to block the attack, she was not in a good condition. Although her strength was at the half-step true god realm, how could her strength be compared to Ao Haitian's? Ao Haitian possessed the body of dragons. He was incomparably valiant and possessed boundless strength. Furthermore, the magic power that he cultivated was extremely tyrannical. It was not something that Huang Yi could compare to. With a single attack, she had already suffered internal injuries. PFFF. Huang Yi vomited a mouthful of blood. However, she did not cower. Senior sister, I'll help you. Seeing that his senior sister was no match for Ao Haitian and had already been injured, Elder Shao also charged toward Ao Haitian to attack him. The two of them were both very powerful. Ao Haitian was somewhat fearful of them attacking him together. After all, although he was very powerful, his main objective this time around was to obtain the divine sword steel. He did not wish to be injured at such a crucial moment. If that were to happen, his gains would not make up for his losses. Thus, when Ao Haitian saw that Elder Shao had also charged toward him, he gathered his strength and ruthlessly pushed Huang Yi back several meters. I'll give you all one more chance. Submit to me and become my slaves, Ao Haitian said loudly. Otherwise, I'll have to kill you all. Sini, I'll block them. You all run away. At this moment, Elder Shao sent a voice transmission. No. Nangong Sini's expression changed upon hearing those words. Although Elder Shao possessed decent strength, he was far from being a match for Ao Haitian and the other two. How could he possibly block Ao Haitian and the other two? Martial uncle, your strength is far from enough. You are simply unable to block them. If that's the case, will you die? As long as you all can escape, even if I die, it will be worth it. Furthermore, it's not like you don't know my situation. I don't have many years left to live, Elder Shao said. I'll stake my old life to fight for a chance of survival for you all. You all are the future hope of our goddess palace. Nothing must happen to you all. After saying those words, Elder Shao ignited his vitality and unleashed a secret technique to increase his cultivation. Then, he charged toward Ao Haitian. After unleashing the secret technique, Elder Zhao's strength immediately broke through the shackles and reached the peak of half-step true god realm. His battle prowess increased by countless times. Go, let's leave quickly. Don't let Junior's sister's sacrifice be in vain. Seeing this, Huang Yi knew that there was no turning back. Thus, he pulled Nangong Sini up and shouted to the girls behind him. He was about to leave this place, igniting one's vitality and lifespan to increase one's cultivation. Ao Haitian's expression sunk. He did not expect that this woman would actually use such a secret technique. She did not even care about her own life. She only wanted to stop him so that the others could escape. However, Ao Haitian did not want her to do as she wished. Yu Jiao, block them for me. Okay. An even more frightening aura burst forth from that woman's body. Her aura was even more valiant than Ao Haitian's. Furthermore, the aura from her body was incomparably gloomy and cold. When her aura burst forth, it was as if one had entered an ice cave. It was extremely cold. She leaped up and extended both of her hands. Waving her palms, the surroundings were sealed by a frighteningly low temperature. Everything in the surroundings was about to be frozen. As for that black dragon, it also moved. With a roar, it opened its mouth and spat out a mouthful of dragon breath. That dragon breath was extremely overbearing. If one were to be struck by it, even if one did not die, one would be seriously injured. Chapter 1383. The appearance of Lu Li. Damn it. It's Lu Li the dragon. Ao Haitian's expression changed. Lu Li belonged to the royal family of the dragons. Ao Haitian and Ao Haitian belonged to the Black Dragon clan. They were looked down upon by the royal family. All along, Long Lu Li had been tracking him. Now that he was caught by Long Lu Li, he would be in deep trouble. In the blink of an eye, Long Lu Li appeared in front of him. Yang Hongwu was overjoyed when he saw the newcomer. The newcomer was Lu Li, the long-lost Lu Li. Lu Li. Yang Hongwu shouted, "Brother." Long Lu Li was also overjoyed when she saw Yang Hongwu. She ignored Ao Haitian and quickly ran towards Yang Hongwu. She threw herself into Yang Hongwu's embrace. "That's great. Brother, I finally found you." Long Lu Li was overjoyed. She had been looking for Yang Hongwu all along. Unfortunately, she hadn't received any news for so many years. She didn't expect to find Yang Hongwu this time. She was so happy that she even threw Ao Haitian aside and ignored him. Ao Haitian was overjoyed when he saw this scene. He knew that this was an opportunity. Taking advantage of the fact that Lu Li wasn't paying attention to him, he signaled with his eyes and wanted to escape. Long Lu Li's strength was very strong. However, Long Lu Li's bloodline grade was much higher than his. Therefore, even if Long Lu Li's cultivation was only a little higher than his, it wouldn't be difficult for Long Lu Li to deal with him under the suppression of bloodline. "Don't let these two bastards escape," Huang Yi shouted. Hearing this, Long Lu Li unleashed her oppressive aura. The powerful dragon's aura and the immense bloodline suppression instantly suppressed Ao Haitian and the other Jiao dragon. Their strength was suppressed to 70%. "Trying to escape in front of me? You must be dreaming." Long Lu Li was furious. She could see that Yang Hongwu's strength hadn't recovered. Currently, he was only at the Great Sage realm. Therefore, she was afraid that he wasn't a match for Ao Haitian and the others. Moreover, Yang Hongwu's body was severely injured. This made Lu Li even more furious. "These two bastards actually injured my brother. How can I let them go? Brother, I will avenge you." After Lu Li finished speaking, he turned into a golden ray of light and instantly blocked Ao Haitian's path. He ferociously threw a punch. Seeing this, Ao Haitian's right hand turned into a dragon claw to block this punch. However, Ao Haitian's strength was currently suppressed by the dragon's might. He was unable to display his strength at all. When his dragon claw collided with Lu Li's fist, a kacha sound was heard. His dragon claw was forcibly broken and his body was sent flying. Long Lu Li, don't go too far. Ao Haitian was sent flying. His dragon claw was broken. He was in great pain. He crawled up with an ashen face. Ao Yu Jiao, who was beside him, also had a solemn face. She knew that Lu Li's strength was actually on par with hers. However, the suppression of Long Lu Li's bloodline on them was too strong. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that Long Lu Li was the #1 expert among dragons. Even those reclusive old antiques weren't a match for Long Lu Li. After all, Long Lu Li's bloodline was absolutely the highest grade in this world. The higher the grade of the bloodline, the greater the suppression on the bloodline of other dragons. In the process of fighting with other dragons, the greater the advantage one had. Who injured Big Brother? Long Lu Li coldly looked at Ao Heijin and Ao Yujiao. At this time, Yang Hongwu said, "Lu Li, they can't hurt me. My injuries have nothing to do with them. However, we can't let them go." Big Brother? Ao Heijin's face changed. He could faintly feel a bloodline suppression coming from Yang Hongwu. Could it be that he was also a dragon? Moreover, his bloodline grade was the same as Lu Li's? If that was the case, how could they still have a chance? Ao Heijin's face was gloomy. Lu Li was a golden dragon. Golden dragons were royalty. They didn't get along with the Black Dragon clan. Originally, the appearance of Lu Li had already caused the Black Dragon clan to suffer a huge suppression and blow. Many of the Black Dragon clan's clansmen who cultivated evil techniques were killed by Lu Li. Regarding this, the Black Dragon clan hated Lu Li to the bone. However, they couldn't do anything about it. Now, Lu Li had another big brother. Wouldn't it be a devastating disaster for the Black Dragon clan? In fact, what he didn't know was that Lu Li wasn't a golden dragon. Instead, he was a 7-colored Lu Li dragon. He was a true divine dragon with a noble status. Naturally, his bloodline grade was needless to say. As for Yang Hongwu, although he wasn't a dragon, he possessed the supreme dragon pearl. He was the 9 dragon's saint body. His bloodline grade was even higher than Lu Li's. However, Yang Hongwu's strength hadn't recovered. Moreover, he hadn't cultivated the immortal dragon body and 9 heavens divine dragon technique to the extreme. The power of his bloodline couldn't be fully displayed. Otherwise, all dragons would have to bow down before him. No one would be able to go against his will. Then who injured Big Brother? I'll take revenge for you. Dragon Lu Li said. Liu Li, you only have your brother in your eyes. You don't even acknowledge me and your elder sister? Yuji said with some jealousy when she saw Long Liu Li acting as if she didn't see her. That big sister Yuji, big sister ran. When Dragon Lu Li heard this, she noticed the existence of Bai Iran and Yuji. She was very embarrassed and lowered her head. Okay, don't mind it. Your big sister Yuji is just joking with you. Bai Iran smiled and said, the person who injured your big brother is the heaven-devouring blood demon. That guy has already disappeared. I guess he's hiding. Heaven-devouring blood demon. Dragon Lu Li's face sank. She naturally knew about the heaven-devouring blood demon. That guy was an unparalleled demon with terrifying strength. It was rumored that many years ago, the entire common people's continent was almost destroyed by him. Didn't he die long ago? He didn't die. Now he's making a comeback. If it wasn't for my husband's special cultivation method that could restrain the heaven-devouring blood demon, I'm afraid we would have died in his hands. Yuji said, we'll talk about this matter in the future. Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes and looked at Ao Heijin and the other two. He was injured and his strength hadn't recovered. As for Ao Heijin, Ao Yujiao, and that flood dragon, if he devoured their dragon pearls, not only could he recover from his injuries, he could also raise his cultivation to the next level. Ao Heijin, Ao Yujiao, right? Yang Hongwu looked at them and circulated the 9 heavens divine dragon technique. A huge pressure was released. This pressure was the pressure of the bloodline, the pressure of a true dragon. It made Ao Heijin and Ao Yujiao feel an astonishing pressure. This pressure came from the depths of their soul. Compared to the pressure that Lu Li gave them, it was even more terrifying and powerful. Chapter 1384. 5th level Great Sage Realm. Ao Yujiao and Ao Heijin glared at Yang Hongwu and Long Liu Li. The magic power in their bodies surged and circulated to the maximum. I admit that you have the ability to kill us. However, if you want to kill us, we won't let you have an easy time. At most, both sides will suffer. Ao Yujiao said, "You can live." Yang Hongwu saw that Ao Yujiao didn't have any resentment. This proved that Ao Yujiao wasn't the kind of person who would willfully slaughter the innocent. As for Ao Heijin, it was different. This fellow's entire body was filled with boundless resentment. Clearly, who knew how many people had died in his hands? Ao Heijin was overjoyed. He thought that he could save his life. However, Yang Hongwu's next words left him dumbfounded. However, Ao Heijin and this black Jiao must die. You sure? Ao Yujiao nodded. It was as if Ao Heijin and the black Jiao dragon weren't her companions and had nothing to do with her. Ao Yujiao. You want to betray the black dragon tribe? Ao Heijin's face darkened. He didn't expect Ao Yujiao to betray him at this time. How could he not be angry? The black Jiao dragon was also terrified. Although it hadn't transformed, it still had intelligence. Ao Yujiao didn't bother with it. She didn't even bother to look at it. Yang Hongwu was shocked. He didn't expect Ao Yujiao to be so cold. Her temper was similar to Bai Iran in the past. However, Ao Yujiao was wearing black warrior clothes. Even if I die, I won't let you have an easy time. Ao Heijin and the black Jiao dragon circulated their spiritual power. Their dragon pearls started a riot. Self-destruction of dragon pearls. Ao Heijin and the black Jiao dragon wanted to self-destruct their dragon pearls. Self-destruction? You must be dreaming. Yang Hongwu sneered. Luli also unleashed her powerful aura, her bloodline aura. She wanted to suppress the rampaging magic power of Ao Heijin and the black Jiao dragon. Yang Hongwu summoned the demon-devouring rune and the devouring true body. Although the demon-devouring mark and the devouring real body had suffered great damage due to the explosion of the blood sea caused by the heaven-devouring blood demon, with Lu Li's help, Ao Heijin and the black serpent dragon were suppressed. The moment Yang Hongwu's demon-devouring mark and the devouring real body appeared, they exploded with great power. At the same time, Yang Hongwu's true body circulated the immortal dragon body and the nine heavens divine dragon technique. A powerful pressure burst forth, giving Ao Heijin and the black Jiao dragon immense pressure. In front of such pressure, Ao Heijin and the black flood dragon felt as though their blood was about to solidify. Not only that, but Yang Hongwu had also set up a formation. This formation was the Great Dragon Trapping Formation. The pressure that erupted from this formation was even stronger and more effective than the bloodline pressure. Not far away, Ao Yujiao's expression was calm, but her heart was in turmoil. This young man's strength was too terrifying. Although his cultivation wasn't high, his endless methods were truly shocking. Seeing that Ao Heijin and the black Jiao dragon's dragon pearls were about to explode, Yang Hongwu condensed a huge hand. This huge hand instantly grabbed the two dragon pearls and sealed them, cutting off the connection between Ao Heijin and the black Jiao dragon. Unable to sense the dragon pearls, Ao Heijin and the black Jiao dragon were terrified to the extreme. They didn't expect Yang Hongwu to be so terrifying. His methods were so strange that he could even seal their dragon pearls and cut off their connection with them. Now, Ao Heijin was extremely regretful. If he hadn't been possessed and wanted to deal with Yang Hongwu and the others, he wouldn't have ended up in such a state. However, it was too late to regret now. Without the dragon pearls, they had lost all their strength. Without the support of their source of strength, they could only rely on their powerful physical bodies. Although their physical bodies were strong, they weren't enough in front of Yang Hongwu. Although the physical bodies of dragons were strong, Yang Hongwu cultivated the immortal dragon body and had supreme treasures. How could Ao Heijin and the black Jiao dragon withstand his attacks? In just a few moves, Ao Heijin and the black Jiao dragon were defeated by Yang Hongwu. The two dragon pearls were quickly devoured and refined by Yang Hongwu. While refining the energy of the dragon pearls, Yang Hongwu's injuries recovered and his cultivation rose to the 5th level Great Sage realm. Yang Hongwu was already quite satisfied to be able to reach the 5th level Great Sage realm. if he could devour and refine Ao Yujiao's dragon pearls. Yang Hongwu estimated that his strength would rise to the next level and reach the 6th level Great Sage realm. However, Yang Hongwu could faintly feel that Ao Yujiao wasn't that simple. Yang Hongwu could feel a powerful energy from her body. It was a huge sense of danger and the energy of death. There was an energy of death in Ao Yujiao's body. This energy made Yang Hongwu's heart palpitate. Although he didn't know what this terrifying energy was, Yang Hongwu knew that he couldn't take the risk. "You can leave," Yang Hongwu said to Ao Yujiao. "Big brother, you let her go just like that?" Luli was a little surprised when he saw Yang Hongwu actually let Ao Yujiao leave. It wasn't just Luli. Even Ao Yujiao was very surprised. Ao Yujiao was glad that Yang Hongwu didn't kill her. However, Yang Hongwu didn't make any requests and just let her go. This made her even more surprised. "Why? You can't bear to part with her?" Yang Hongwu asked. "I'm leaving." Although Ao Yujiao didn't know what Yang Hongwu was planning and even guessed that he might be plotting something, Ao Yujiao wouldn't let go of such an opportunity. She wouldn't foolishly stay behind. She didn't know what kind of strange cultivation technique Yang Hongwu had cultivated. However, seeing how miserable the fates of Ao Haitian and the Black Jiao Dragon were, she naturally didn't want to end up like them. Soon, Ao Yujiao left. Even their original plan to seize the divine Sword Dao Steel was abandoned. After all, she was alone now. Ao Haitian and the Black Jiao Dragon were dead. "Why did you let her go?" Yuji was also puzzled and asked. Yang Hongwu said, "This woman is very strange. She has a terrifying energy in her body. If this energy were to erupt, I wouldn't be able to resist it." "Even Lu Li can't?" Bai Iran asked. The current Lu Li was very powerful. He was at the peak of the half-step true god realm. His combat strength was definitely the strongest among everyone present. In this mortal continent, even if Lu Li's combat strength wasn't the strongest, he was definitely at the top. There were only a few people who could threaten him. Chapter 1385. The Great Calamity, no matter which one it was, Yang Hongwu didn't want to see such a result. Just like the Fire God sealed in the Fire God dynasty. If that guy came out, Yang Hongwu would not be able to deal with him with his current strength. Of course, if he had the help of Lu Li and the others, in addition to the suppression of the formation, he had more than a 70% chance of killing the fire deity. However, if he killed the fire deity's original body would descend regardless of the cost. In that case, it would not be worth it for Yang Hongwu. Therefore, no matter what it was, Yang Hongwu would not do it unless he had full confidence. Unless it was a last resort, he would not take the risk. "Luli, why are you here? And you have become one of the dragons?" Yang Hongwu was curious. "I don't know. When I woke up, I appeared on Dragon Island. Later, I was brought to the dragons by the Dragon Emperor," Luli said. She herself did not know what had happened. However, after she had awakened, she had been searching for Yang Hongwu's whereabouts. Unfortunately, after so many years, she had not found the slightest bit of news. Therefore, she planned to work hard to break through the shackles of this space and enter the divine domain to search for news of Yang Hongwu. She knew that Yang Hongwu had undergone the thunder tribulation of the Great Path back then. At that level, the possibility of him appearing in the divine domain was much higher. However, it wasn't easy to break through the shackles and become an expert in the primordial true god realm. In addition to her unique physique, it was much more difficult for her to break through compared to an ordinary person. Of course, her power could absolutely crush an expert of the same level. She suppressed all the experts on Dragon Island with her own strength, making her the most outstanding genius among the dragons. With the suppression of her bloodline power, she could be said to be the #1 expert among the dragons. Among the dragons, there is absolutely no one who could defeat her. This was the terror of bloodline suppression. "Brother, your current cultivation is very weak. What if I surpass you by a lot?" Luli said happily. Yang Hongwu's face was full of black lines. "You little girl, don't be arrogant just because you have a little cultivation. If I want to suppress you, it's a matter of minutes." This is not necessarily true. Lu Li's face showed a sly smile. Sister Lu Li, I think you should teach your big brother a lesson. Yuji was in this matter Liu Yang very much. Bai Yu also smiled Lu Li. So you all want to see me make a fool of myself, right? Seeing this, Yang Hongwu glared at Yuji and Bai Iran. Do you want me to execute the family law? Lu Li, Yang Hongwu rolled his eyes. If he didn't teach this big vixen a lesson, it would be difficult for him to maintain his position. Ahem. At this time, Nangong Sini couldn't stand it anymore. What time was this? They were still flirting. Was this appropriate? Nangong Sini couldn't help but pretend to cough, interrupting Yang Hongwu and the three girls. Yang Hongwu, now is not the time to flirt. Should we set off? Nangong Sini said. Senior sister, are you envious? Yuji wasn't embarrassed. Bai Iran and Lu Li were blushing. Yang Hongwu was also slightly embarrassed. Big brother, let's go get the Sword Dao tablet now. If we get the Sword Dao tablet, I think I should be able to break through the shackles and break through to the Tai true God realm, Lu Li said. Sword Dao tablet? Yang Hongwu shook his head and said, that's not the Sword Dao tablet. It's the killing heaven sword demons killing heaven sword demon. This is his scheme. Moreover, not only the killing heaven sword demon, even the purple moon demon king has appeared. They should be confronting each other now. If we go, we'll be in big trouble. At this time, the killing heaven sword demon and the purple moon demon king hadn't met each other yet. It was a little strange. If the two of them joined forces, the number of people who went would be the same. Who were the killing heaven sword demon and the purple moon demon king? They were terrifying demons with terrifying strength. Even if they couldn't display the strength of a Tai true god, they could display their fighting strength to the extreme in this world. They were almost invincible. Lu Li's strength was also at the half-step true god realm, but there was still a big gap between her and the killing heaven sword demon and the purple moon demon king. Moreover, if the two of them joined forces, she would be no match for them. Killing heaven sword demon? The purple moon demon king? When Long Liuli heard this, she sucked in a breath of cold air. Long Liuli had been in this world for a long time. She was a peerless genius of a dragon race and had read all the ancient books of the dragon race. Therefore, she knew quite a lot about some of the ancient secrets. The strength of these two great devils was extremely terrifying. Both of them were once super experts of their era and were invincible existences. If the two of them recovered to their peak strength, it would be difficult to find anyone who could defeat them in this world. It would be better if there was only one of them. However, there were two. No, three peerless demons at the same time. After all, there was the devouring heaven blood demon. This could be said to be a group of demons dancing wildly. Peerless demons and hidden experts had all come out. A great calamity of the world had probably occurred in this world. This was a true great calamity of the world. If something went wrong, this world would be completely destroyed. It would be a great calamity of the world. Great changes in the world. The demonic star piercing the world. Nangong Sini said in shock. A great calamity of the world. Ru Huangyi's face sank. Cough, cough. Elder Xiao, who was supported by Ru Huangyi, spat out a mouthful of blood. Her face was pale. Previously, she had used a secret technique to burn her qi and blood essence. In addition, she was injured by Ao Haitian. At this time, her injuries had completely erupted. Junior sister. Ru Huangyi hurriedly instilled his spiritual power into Elder Zhao's body to heal her. However, Elder Zhao's qi and blood essence were severely exhausted. Her injuries were not light, and she could not hold on anymore. Her vitality was constantly draining away. In addition, there were old injuries in her body. At this moment, she was like a lamp that had run out of oil. Husband, please save Martial Ant. Yuji said, Young Master Yang, you have a way to save junior sister? When Ru Huangyi heard Yuji's words, it was as if he had grasped at a life-saving straw. He looked at Yang Hongwu and said in an excited tone, Chapter 1386. Treatment we can try. Yang Hongwu nodded. Elder Zhao's condition was very serious. It wouldn't be easy for her to recover. In fact, Elder Zhao's most serious injury wasn't caused by the burning of her blood qi and profound qi. The most fatal injury was the injury that she had been suffering for a long time. This injury was in the depths of her primordial spirit. It was a kind of supreme curse power. The curse power had penetrated deep into her primordial spirit and soul. If the curse wasn't broken, there was no way to cure her completely. Even if her blood qi and profound qi were restored, it would only treat the symptoms and not the root cause. It would only prolong her lifespan by a few days. Elder Xiao, you've been cursed. Yang Hongwu looked at her and said, I can treat your current injuries. I can also help you recover your qi and blood essence. However, the most fatal thing is the power of the curse. This curse works on your primordial spirit and your soul. In fact, your soul has already withered. In a few years, your soul will be completely destroyed. You won't even have the chance to reincarnate and cultivate again. Your soul will truly disperse. I know that myself. With Yang Hongwu's help, Elder Xiao had recovered a little. Looking at Yang Hongwu, she sighed in her heart. Of course, she knew that she had been cursed. This curse had been bothering her for too long. In fact, her aptitude wasn't any weaker than Huang Yi's. However, because of the curse power, her cultivation was only at the peak of the invincible Great Emperor realm. She hadn't broken through the shackles and entered the half-step true God realm. Without the curse power, her cultivation would have already reached the half-step true God realm. Master Yang, don't you have a way to remove the curse on junior sister? Huang Yi asked. I need to give it a try. I'm not completely confident. However, I have to say this in advance. If I ignore the power of curse and don't try to get rid of it, I can recover Elder Zhao's qi and blood. Then, Elder Xiao will have a few more years of life. However, if I try to get rid of the power of curse and fail, Elder Xiao will die immediately and his soul will scatter. Of course, if I succeed in getting rid of the power of curse, it will be a great opportunity for Elder Xiao. Not only will it get rid of the root of Elder Zhao's curse, but it will also give Elder Xiao great benefits, allowing him to break through the shackles and enter the half-step to real God realm. In the future, breaking through the shackles of the half-step to real God realm and breaking through to the primordial unity real God realm will also bring great benefits, Yang Hongwu said seriously as he looked at Huang, Yi, and the others. Come on, even if I recover my blood qi and profound qi, I'm just struggling at death's door. Why don't I end it quickly? Elder Xiao said before Huang Yi could say anything. In fact, if I make a breakthrough in my cultivation and reach the Great Emperor realm, the success rate of removing the curse power will be much higher. Yang Hongwu said, I'm only at level 5 Great Saint realm now. If I want to enter the Great Emperor realm, I need an opportunity. If the opportunity comes and there's enough energy for me to make a breakthrough, it won't be difficult to break through the shackles of the Great Emperor realm. Yes, it's true. Brother was originally a Great Emperor realm expert. Now that your cultivation has fallen, it won't be difficult for you to recover. As long as you have enough energy and resources, it's only a matter of time before you break through the shackles and enter the Great Emperor realm. Luli said, on the Dragon Island, there are many dragon pearls and the power of the dragon vein. More importantly, there's a dragon transformation pool. As long as Brother can enter the dragon transformation pool of the Ancestral Dragon Palace, your cultivation will recover quickly and break through the shackles to enter the Great Emperor realm. You might even reach a higher level. Luli knew that Yang Hongwu's strength was originally at the invincible Great Emperor realm. However, Yang Hongwu's foundation was much stronger than before. His physical body was much more terrifying. It turned out that every time Yang Hongwu broke through a bottleneck, he would need a huge amount of energy and resources. It was even more so now. If he wanted to break through the shackles of the Great Emperor realm and enter the Tai True God realm, it would be very difficult. Luli even suspected that if Yang Hongwu wanted to enter the Tai True God realm, he would need a terrifying amount of energy and resources. He was afraid that even if the entire mortal continent was devoured, it wouldn't be enough to help Yang Hongwu break through. However, the Ancestral Dragon Palace on the Dragon Island was very mysterious. There was a passage that could break through the space barrier and enter the divine domain directly. However, it was very dangerous. That space passage was very dangerous. If one didn't have a strong enough physical body, they would definitely die. Moreover, that passage wasn't very stable. It could encounter a cosmic void storm at any time. Once one fell into the void storm, it would be very troublesome. The possibility of death was very high. If one was lucky and didn't die, they might be swept into an unknown space by the void storm. If that wasn't the case, Luli would have used that passage to enter the divine domain to find Yang Hongwu after not finding Yang Hongwu for a long time. It was precisely because the passageway was too dangerous that Long Liuli cultivated with all her might. She used her own cultivation to break through the bottleneck, breaking through the grand unity true God realm and ascending to the deity plane to find Yang Hongwu. Luckily, it was extremely difficult for her to break through her shackles and become a true divinity. Otherwise, she would have entered the divine realm and her big brother Yang Hongwu would have been in the lower realms. If they wanted to meet again, they would have to wait even longer. If that's the case, why don't we first restore junior sister's chi and blood essence and wait for young Master Yang to go to the Dragon Island to restore his cultivation and break through the shackles before removing the curse for junior sister? Yellow Clothes Rue said, "That's the best." Nangong Sini also nodded and said, "No, there's no need to wait. I don't want to continue enduring that endless pain. It's a kind of torture." Elder Xiao shook his head and said, "Young Master Yang, please remove the curse for me now. If it fails, I can only blame myself for this tribulation in my life. If it succeeds, it'll be my blessing." "All right, but we need to find a safe place now. We can't do it here," Yang Hongwu said. This place was too close to the Sky Sword Peak. Now, the Sky Sword Peak was a dangerous battlefield. A bloody massacre had already begun there. It was unknown how many warriors had already died on that battlefield. What was worse was that there were two terrifying devils there. Chapter 1387. Dispel a curse. Not far from here, there's a mysterious teleportation formation. No one knows about it. It can teleport you to an ancient palace 100 miles away, Nangong Sini hurriedly said. "Okay, let's go there quickly," Yang Hongwu said. Soon, they found the location of the teleportation formation. After the group entered the teleportation formation, a light flashed and they disappeared. In the next moment, everyone appeared in an ancient palace. This ancient palace was the destination of the teleportation formation. Yang Hongwu looked around and nodded. "This place is very hidden. There's a formation outside, and the spirit chi is rich. It is a good place. We'll protect you." Nangong Sini said, "Don't worry. We won't let anyone disturb you." This was a big deal. If there was even the slightest mistake, there would be big trouble. Not only would Elder Xiao die, but even Yang Hongwu would suffer a backlash. It might trigger the curse to transfer to Yang Hongwu. That was not something that everyone wanted to see. Yang Hongwu nodded and said, "When I'm helping Elder Xiao dispel the curse, no one must disturb him. Otherwise, the consequences will be unimaginable. We are well aware of this. All right, we don't have much time. Elder Xiao, come with me." Yang Hongwu and Elder Xiao entered the room. Then, Yang Hongwu set up a formation. This formation could isolate the outside interference and prevent people from suddenly breaking in. Of course, the possibility was very small, but it was still a precaution. "Here is a pill that can restore your chi, blood, and profound chi. Take it first." Yang Hongwu took out a porcelain bottle and handed it to Elder Xiao. This was the chi and blood essence pill. This pill was refined by Yang Hongwu in case of an emergency. Unexpectedly, it really came in handy. A 100% effectiveness pill. What amazing effects. Elder Xiao was shocked when he saw the pill that Yang Hongwu gave him. Such a pill was very precious. If it was outside, it would definitely be fought over by all the major forces. Having such a pill was equivalent to having an extra life. Therefore, one could imagine how precious this pill was. Everyone wanted a second life. Who would be willing to take out such a trump card? But Yang Hongwu was actually willing to give such a precious pill to him? This pill is too precious. It would be a waste to give it to me. Elder Shao looked at Yang Hongwu and said, Master Yang, please dispel the curse for me. The success rate is too low. In your current situation, there is no way for you to bear my spiritual energy and spiritual energy. Once my spiritual energy and spiritual energy enter your body, it is very likely that your physical body will collapse and your spiritual energy will collapse. Therefore, you need to restore your qi and blood essence first. Yang Hongwu naturally knew what Elder Shao was thinking. He said, This pill is nothing to me. I am also an alchemist. If he failed at this step, he would not have a second chance. After entering Elder Zhao's sea of consciousness, Yang Hongwu followed the sinister aura and quickly found the source. This sinister aura was an Elder Zhao's primordial spirit. At this moment, almost half of Elder Zhao's primordial spirit was dyed black. This was because of the curse power. You're here. Elder Zhao opened her eyes and smiled bitterly. Originally, the curse power in my body was suppressed in my left arm. However, because I used a secret technique to forcibly raise my cultivation, the curse power has now eroded half of my primordial spirit. This curse power is constantly devouring the power of my primordial spirit, causing it to become weak. Chapter 1388. Karmic Fire Refining Body. Young Master Yang, please go ahead. I can withstand it. Elder Shao said. For her, what was more important than her life? No matter how painful it was, she had to endure it. Otherwise, she would be consigned to eternal damnation and her soul would scatter. She did not want to die like this. In order to survive, she had to endure any pain. Yang Hongwu moved his mind, and a fire lotus appeared in Elder Zhao's sea of consciousness. This fire lotus was not an ordinary fire lotus. It was a fire lotus condensed from karmic fire. This was the karmic fire of the red lotus. It was the nemesis of the evil spirit qi. Although the curse force was strong and overbearing, it was still weak and insignificant in front of the karmic fire. However, the divine fire was extremely overbearing, not to mention the karmic fire of the red lotus. This flame had a terrible destructive power to the soul and the primordial spirit. Elder Shao was not strong, and she did not cultivate a fire attribute cultivation technique. Moreover, there was the curse force in her primordial spirit. Facing the burning of the divine fire, she felt excruciating pain. Only now did she understand why Yang Hongwu said that before. The divine fire burning the primordial spirit and soul was not something an ordinary person could endure. This kind of pain was too terrible. It could not be described with words. However, Elder Shao still had to grit her teeth and persevere. The divine fire was burning her soul and primordial spirit. If she persevered, it would be very beneficial to her. Not only would it be able to remove the curse from her primordial spirit, but it would also make her primordial spirit purer. All the impurities in her primordial spirit would be burned away and refined, making her primordial spirit more condensed. Not only that, it could also train her willpower and improve her state of mind. After all, the divine fire burning the primordial spirit and soul was unbearable. It was worse than death. If she could endure it, her state of mind would be greatly improved, which would be of great help to her future cultivation. Yang Hongwu controlled the godly flame to burn her primordial spirit and eliminate the curse power in her primordial spirit. He had to be very careful and didn't dare to be careless. After all, they were in Elder Zhao's sea of consciousness, which was burning her primordial spirit and soul. Yang Hongwu was really worried that Elder Shao would not be able to hold on. If she really could not hold on, it would be very troublesome. Once she could not hold on, there was only one outcome waiting for Elder Shao. Her primordial spirit and soul would be burned by her own divine fire and dissipate in the void. There would be no possibility for her to survive, not even a chance to be reincarnated. Of course, if Yang Hongwu didn't try to get rid of her curse power, she wouldn't be able to live for long either. Her primordial spirit and soul would be completely devoured by the curse power. She would also die, and there would be no possibility of reincarnation. When refining the curse power, Yang Hongwu was surprised to find that the curse power was very terrifying. It could only be expelled and dissipated by the hellfire, but couldn't be refined by Yang Hongwu. This was what really shocked Yang Hongwu. Even he couldn't devour and refine the curse power. His current strength was in the 5th level Great Sage realm. With the devouring body's devouring technique and the demon devouring rune, it was simply overbearing. There was almost no power that couldn't be refined and devoured. However, this trace of curse power wasn't very strong. It was just a trace of power, but couldn't be devoured and refined by Yang Hongwu. It could only be burned and dissipated by the hellfire. From the looks of it, the power of the curse was definitely not simple. This made Yang Hongwu more and more curious. Moreover, Yang Hongwu suspected that the power of the curse was most likely related to the source of all evil curses that he had seen before. Yang Hongwu had come into contact with the source of all evil curses before. Only then did he know how terrifying the source of all evil curses was. With Yang Hongwu's current cultivation, there was no way to devour and refine the power of the source of all evil curses. From this point of view, it was too similar and too coincidental. It took a lot of time to get rid of the curse power in Elder Zhao's primordial spirit. It took a full 4 hours to completely eliminate the curse power in Elder Zhao's primordial spirit. Yang Hongwu also consumed a lot of his spiritual power. He consumed nearly 80% of his spiritual power and 90% of his spiritual power. This made Yang Hongwu sweat profusely. He secretly rejoiced in his heart. If he had delayed a little more and went to the goddess palace for treatment, he might not have been able to get rid of the curse power. Of course, Elder Zhao's performance also made Yang Hongwu look at her in a new light. This was a pain that burned one's soul and primordial spirit. Moreover, Elder Zhao actually managed to endure it for such a long time. This made Yang Hongwu feel very surprised. At this moment, Elder Zhao's primordial spirit and spiritual power had been consumed by more than half. She was only left with 1/10 of her original strength. However, her power had become more condensed. On the surface, it seemed that Elder Zhao's strength had decreased a lot. Her cultivation realm was only at the late Great Emperor realm. However, her cultivation foundation had become more stable and solid. With her original invincible Great Emperor realm, it was only a matter of time for her to break through the shackles and enter the invincible Great Emperor realm. It would not take long for her to break through to the half-step True God realm. She slowly opened her eyes. Although she had consumed a lot of her spiritual power and her cultivation had regressed a lot, Elder Zhao appeared to be more energetic at this moment. Her primordial spirit and spiritual power had been greatly consumed. She was only left with 1/10 of her original strength. However, she was still so energetic. Yang Hongwu could not help but admire her incomparably firm willpower. Yang Hongwu asked himself, if he was in the same situation, he might not be able to do better than her. Thank you, young Master Yang. Elder Zhao's current situation was the clearest. This time, she had definitely obtained a great opportunity. This was her great fortune. Yang Hongwu's kindness to her could be said to be akin to giving her a new lease of life. Take a rest first. Recover your spiritual power and spiritual power. In a while, I will remove the curse power in your blood. However, you have endured it just now. The next thing will be much easier. Yang Hongwu said, now that the curse power in her primordial spirit had been removed, it would be easier to remove the curse power in her blood. If it really did not work, she could still use the method of changing her blood to remove the curse power. She could even abandon her physical body or change her physical body. These two methods were also feasible. All right, Elder Zhao nodded. Without saying anything more, she sat down cross-legged and began to recover. Yang Hongwu did the same. He took a pill and began to recover his spiritual power and spiritual power. After all, the consumption just now was too great. He almost could not hold on. Chapter 1389. The seal is broken. After recovering to his peak, Yang Hongwu began to dispel the curse power in the blood. What surprised Yang Hongwu was that this time, when Yang Hongwu's magic power entered Elder Zhao's body, the curse power moved. The power of the curse did not escape. Instead, it followed Yang Hongwu's dermic powers and surged into Yang Hongwu's body. Yang Hongwu was dumbfounded. The power of the curse transformed into a strange insect, the cursed strange insect. After the cursed insect entered Yang Hongwu's body, Elder Zhao was naturally fine. She was fine, but Yang Hongwu was not. This was because Yang Hongwu realized that he had no way of suppressing this cursed alien insect. This made Yang Hongwu frown. Young Master Yang, but the cursed power has entered your body. How are you now? Elder Zhao was very worried as he looked at Yang Hongwu and asked. If the power of the curse caused great damage to Yang Hongwu, it would be bad. Yang Hongwu opened his eyes and saw the concern in Elder Zhao's eyes. He gently shook his head and said, "It's fine. Although the power of the curse is strong, it can't harm me. On the contrary, it makes me feel much more relaxed. It's good that you're fine. If something had happened to you, how would I explain it to Yuji and the others?" Hearing Yang Hongwu's words, Elder Zhao breathed a sigh of relief. Now that the power of your curse has been removed, let's go out, lest they worry. Yang Hongwu originally wanted to get rid of the cursed alien bug before leaving, but he realized that the cursed alien bug was lurking on his left pinky. Yang Hongwu tried to use karmic fire to destroy it, but it didn't cause any damage to the cursed insect. This shocked Yang Hongwu. Could it be that he had to cut off his left little finger? Yang Hongwu thought for a while and gave up. The strange cursed insect was very rare. Moreover, it was not afraid of his red lotus hellfire. It could be seen that this strange cursed insect was very special. If he could find a way to subdue it, it would be a great help. Are you really okay? Elder Zhao was still a little worried. Looking at Yang Hongwu's ugly expression, he was quite worried. It's fine, Yang Hongwu said. I have the divine fire in my body, and the divine fire is the nemesis of the curse energy. You don't have to worry about that at all. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to help you expel the curse energy from your soul. Yang Hongwu opened the array, and the two of them left the room. Nangong Sini and the others heaved a sigh of relief when they saw the two of them walking out. Elder Zhao's complexion was rosy, and his breathing was stable. You're out. Junior sister, has your curse energy been removed? Yellow Dress Ru asked. Elder Zhao nodded and said, yes, it has been removed. It's not a big problem. However, I'm afraid that young Master Yang will be in some trouble. A part of the curse energy in my body has entered young Master Yang's body. This, husband, is what martial uncle said true. Yuji's expression changed. She looked at Yang Hongwu and asked, are you okay? Hearing that the curse energy had entered Yang Hongwu's body, Yuji was very worried. Great Demoness, you don't have to worry. I'm fine. It's just the curse energy. It's nothing to me. Yang Hongwu smiled slightly. Hearing Yang Hongwu's words, Yuji did not mention this topic again. However, she still frowned slightly. Bai Yiran also frowned. The two women still saw something. However, it was not suitable to say it at this time. Suddenly, Yang Hongwu's expression changed, and he frowned. What's wrong? Big brother, did something happen? Luli saw Yang Hongwu's expression and asked hurriedly. Yuji and Bai Yiran were also a little nervous. Under normal circumstances, Yang Hongwu would never have such an expression. Since he had such an expression, something must have happened. Moreover, it must be something very troublesome. My seal has been broken. It seems that trouble has come for me. Yang Hongwu took a deep breath. He did not expect that the seal of the Fire God Dynasty would be broken at this time. The dragon vein spirit of the Fire God Dynasty had been destroyed. The seal was broken and the dragon vein spirit was destroyed. The Fire God had come out. The God of Fire's original body was a genuine, primordial, true God expert. Although this was only one of his incarnations, its strength was not something that an ordinary half-step, true God expert could withstand. Moreover, his aura had been locked on by that guy. At this time, the Fire God's clone should be rushing here. Seal? Trouble? Luli said, Big brother, what's going on? A problem that could make Yang Hongwu so nervous was definitely not simple. Luli asked. Luli had followed Yang Hongwu for a long time. Yang Hanwu had been promoted from a weak warrior to the great emperor realm. During this period, there were not many things that could make him feel troubled. I obtained a fire lotus in the fire god dynasty, the red lotus of fire. Because of that, I offended an expert. That guy should be a true god expert. His strength is very terrifying. He is locked onto my aura and is rushing here now. Yang Hongwu looked at Nangong Sini and said, Nangong Sini, Elder Ru, take the disciples of the goddess palace and leave here now. Martial Ant, you take the junior sisters and leave here. I can't leave. I want to help junior brother Yang deal with the intruder with junior sister Yuji. Nangong Sini said to Yellow Dress Ru. She rejected Yang Hongwu's suggestion. I'll stay too. Junior sister, you have just recovered from your injuries and need a rest. You take them back to the sect. Sini and I will stay and help Master Yang deal with the enemy. Yellow Dress Ru thought for a moment and said. Yang Hongwu smiled bitterly and said, You don't have to do that. The intruder is very strong. He's not someone you can deal with. Yang Hongwu knew that Nangong Sini and the others had good intentions. However, the fire god was too powerful. He was a true god's clone. Moreover, he was a true god expert with the fire attribute. He had already mastered the law of fire attribute. He was very terrifying. The clone of a true god expert was much stronger than a half-step true god expert. If it wasn't for the suppression of the world's law, Yang Hongwu would have chosen to run away. If Yang Hongwu had not met Lu Li, he would not have dared to wait for the fire god's arrival. With Lu Li's help, Yang Hongwu could borrow the power of the array to suppress the fire god's clone. Last time, he was able to seal the fire god's clone. This time was no exception. Chapter 1390. Arranging in advance, the other party's strength is beyond your imagination. Yang Hongwu said, You won't be of any help to me if you stay. Instead, you'll be a burden to me. What do you mean? Nangong Sini was dissatisfied with Yang Hongwu's words. She looked at Yang Hongwu and said, Are you looking down on us? That's not what I meant. Yang Hongwu smiled bitterly. This woman was still so calculative. You're still denying it? You said that we're a burden to you. Then what about junior sister Yuji? I admit that junior apprentice sister Yuji's talent is more outstanding than mine. But right now, junior apprentice sister Yuji's combat power isn't stronger than mine, nor can she compare to junior apprentice Uncle Ru. You actually said that if junior apprentice uncle and I stay behind, we would be a burden to you? Aren't you looking down on us? Nangong Sini was furious. Yang Hongwu was speechless towards Nangong Sini. This woman really didn't know what was good for her. Who was Fire God? That was a true expert of Tai, true God realm. Moreover, in the divine domain, he was definitely an overlord. His strength was incomparably strong, and he could be considered an expert in the divine domain. Now that he had come down to the mortal world, although it was not his real body, even though it was just an incarnation, it was still incomparably strong. It was far from an existence that an ordinary expert of half-step true God realm could contend with. Although Nangong Sini's strength was very good, and Huang, he was also a half-step true God expert. They couldn't rely on numbers to win against a true God's incarnation. One must know that a true God's incarnation could borrow the strength of the main body if there was no other choice. It could be said that the power of a true God's incarnation was much stronger than a half-step true God expert. Although there was only a difference of half a step, the difference in their fighting strength was like heaven and earth. You misunderstood. Even Yuji and Iran, I will send them to a safe place. The only one left to help me is Lu Li. Yang Hongwu had no choice but to explain. There's strength in numbers. There are so many of us. We should be stronger than you and Lu Li, right? Elder Xiao said. Number of people. Yang Hongwu smiled bitterly and shook his head. At that level, if one's strength isn't enough, it doesn't matter how many people there are. It's like a wolf and a sheep. No matter how many sheep there are, there's no way to threaten the wolf. We're not that weak. Sheep, you're really good at using metaphors. Nangong Sini said coldly. In the end, you still look down on the goddess palace. Yang Hongwu was a little annoyed. He looked at Nangong Sini coldly and said, Yes, I look down on the goddess palace. Is this okay? It's not that I want to say this, But if I want to deal with these disciples of the goddess palace, it would be a piece of cake. I only need half an incense stick's worth of time to kill all of you. Plus, I won't be injured at all. You? How arrogant. Nangong Sini was furious. This bastard was too arrogant. In half an incense stick's time, he could kill all the disciples of the goddess palace, and there wouldn't be any injuries on him. He was too arrogant. Unless the opponent was a true god expert, it was absolutely impossible. Husband, you're too arrogant. Yu rolled her eyes at Yang Hongwu and said, I'm also a disciple of the goddess palace. Big devil, the situation is urgent. We don't have much time. The god of fire will arrive here in half an hour. Yang Hongwu said seriously. Therefore, we only have half an hour to arrange. With my current cultivation, I'm far from being the opponent of the incarnation of the god of fire. Even with Lu Li's help, I don't have enough confidence. Therefore, we have to arrange it in advance. When Yang Hongwu said this, a terrifying cold light burst out from his eyes. This time, he wanted to kill the incarnation of the god of fire to avoid future troubles. Yang Hongwu, how dare you look down on us? Today, I'll let you know how powerful I, Nangong Sini, am. Nangong Sini was infuriated by Yang Hongwu's action of looking down on the disciples of the goddess pavilion. Therefore, she took action. She unsheathed her sword and waved it. Sword shadows filled the sky and enveloped Yang Hongwu within. It could be said that the sword chi was unhindered. Yang Hongwu had no way to evade this terrifying sword chi. Yang Hongwu sighed. Looking at Nangong Sini's attack, Yang Hongwu didn't take it to heart. You still don't learn from your mistakes. Yang Hongwu said and stretched out his right hand. In an instant, he caught Nangong Sini's sword between his two fingers. Nangong Sini couldn't move. My Li. Damn it, Yang Hongwu, you coward. Don't you dare to fight me face to face? Are you still a man? Nangong Sini was infuriated. Who would have thought that this bastard would scheme against her again, causing her cultivation to be sealed? Elder Ru, I think Nangong Sini's state of mind is still too weak. I suggest that after Nangong Sini returns to the goddess palace, she should reflect on her mistakes and improve her state of mind. Otherwise, the consequences will be very troublesome. Yang Hongwu said to Huang Yi after restraining Nangong Sini. Huang Yi saw Yang Hongwu's strength again and sighed in her heart. Yang Hongwu was indeed too outstanding. Nangong Sini was the strongest and most talented girl in the younger generation of the goddess palace. However, in front of Yang Hongwu, she couldn't even withstand a single blow. There was simply no comparison. Master Yang, do you really not need our help? Huang Yi looked at Yang Hongwu and asked in a serious tone. No need. You should leave quickly. If you don't leave now, it will be too late. Yang Hongwu said, Then you must be careful. Huang Yi sighed and turned around. She led Nangong Sini and the other female disciples to the goddess palace. After they left, Yang Hongwu began to set up the formation and restriction. With Lu Li's help, Yang Hongwu set up the formation several times faster than before. Moreover, the power of the formation was much stronger. After Yang Hongwu finished setting up the formation and restriction, he said to Yu and by Iran, Yu, enter the Dragon Gate world to avoid any harm. Okay, I also want to see Sister Zifeng Wang. Yu glanced at Yang Hongwu meaningfully. Yang Hongwu was speechless. After sending the two girls into the Dragon Gate world, he said to Lu Li, I want you to preside over the killing formation. Can you do it? Chapter 1391. Facing the enemy with a formation. This is a matter of life and death. We cannot let our guard down. Yang Hongwu said in a serious tone. Don't worry, big brother. I can do it. Hearing Yang Hongwu's words, Lu Li knew the seriousness of the matter. They could not afford to make any mistakes. If there were any mistakes, it would cause huge trouble and even endanger their lives. Yang Hongwu nodded his head and started to set up the formation. Time passed by quickly. After a quarter of an hour, Yang Hongwu finally finished setting up the formation. This formation could be said to be the strongest formation that Yang Hongwu had set up. He's coming. Lu Li, you better be prepared. Yang Hongwu felt the aura of the fire god and said solemnly. Outside the ancient palace, the fire god Duan Yan's figure appeared there. a cold glint flashing in his eyes. The surroundings were enveloped by a powerful aura, and the entire place changed. It was as though a storm was brewing. The entire space became extremely oppressive, making it hard for people to breathe. The surroundings of the ancient palace were originally lively and noisy. Suddenly, there was a change, and it became very quiet. It was so quiet that it made people panic. "It's here." Duan Yin looked at the ancient palace in front of him and frowned. The fella who had snatched his fire lotus was in this ancient palace. He would not be wrong about the aura. However, this ancient palace gave him a dangerous feeling, which made him hesitate. In this common people continent, the strongest person is only half a step into the true God realm. Even those who don't dare to ascend wouldn't be able to deal with me. So why do I feel uneasy? Duan Yin was confused. His original body was the fire god, a peak Tai true god expert. Although he was only a clone, his strength was far stronger than those half-step true gods. Maybe I'm thinking too much. He threw away this thought and looked at the ancient palace in front of him. In his point of view, no one in the Tsangshan continent could threaten him. Moreover, no matter who the enemy was, he had to take back the red karmic fire lotus. He had paid a huge price to obtain the red karmic fire lotus. How could he give it up just like that? The brat who stole his red karmic fire lotus could not be forgiven easily. Thinking of this, a terrifying killing intent erupted from Duan Yan's eyes. "How dare you snatch something that belongs to me, the fire god Duan Yan? You really don't know the meaning of death." Duan Yin waved his hand at the ancient palace, and a stream of flame energy shot towards the door of the ancient palace. With a loud bang, the door of the ancient palace was instantly shattered. He raised his head and saw a person sitting in the middle of the ancient temple. This person was none other than Yang Hongwu. Furthermore, there was a fire lotus revolving around his body. It was the red lotus of hellfire. Duan Yan's pupils shrank as his eyes narrowed into slits. "Brat, you've got guts. How dare you snatch my things and seal me up?" Duan Yan looked at Yang Hongwu and said coldly. His voice was calm, but one could tell that he was extremely furious. His fury had reached its peak, and he did not conceal his terrifying killing intent as it enveloped Yang Hongwu's body. Yang Hongwu felt that he had been locked onto by the powerful willpower of the fire god, Duan Yin. He had to admit that this guy was a terrifying expert. On this continent, perhaps only the heaven-killing sword demon and the purple moon demon king could contend with him. Of course, Yang Hongwu was still confident with the help of the formation and Lu Li's strength. If he did not have sufficient confidence, Yang Hongwu would not have stayed behind to wait for the arrival of the fire god. "Yang Hongwu, I did not expect that you would be able to break my formation seal in such a short period of time. This is truly unexpected." Yang Hongwu looked at Duan Yin and said softly, "Hand over the red karmic fire lotus and kill yourself. I can leave you with a complete corpse." The fire god, Duan Yin, looked at Yang Hongwu with disdain. He initially thought that Yang Hongwu's strength was at least at the invincible Great Emperor realm. However, he was surprised to see that this brat's cultivation was only at the 5th level of the Great Sage realm. 5th level of the Great Sage realm, not even at the Great Emperor realm. He had actually snatched his red karmic fire lotus and sealed himself up. If it was not for the formation spirit being damaged, he would not have been able to break the formation. Duan Yin felt humiliated that he had been forced into such a situation by a great sage ant. Yes, this was a huge humiliation. If this matter were to spread to the god's domain and those old guys came to know about it, he would have no face at all. Therefore, no matter what, this brat had to die. "Idiot! Idiot!" Yang Hongwu said. "Little bastard, you're courting death." The fire god, Duan Yin, shouted in anger. This bastard actually dared to insult him. This was unbearable. When had he, the fire god, ever been humiliated like this? Even Sir God realm experts had never looked down on him and humiliated him like this. However, a mere great sage and had done it. Duan Yin waved his hand, and a surge of flame energy burst out. It condensed into a large red hand and grabbed at Yang Hongwu. The terrifying temperature caused the surrounding air to sizzle. Wherever the large hand passed, The space seemed to be burning and collapsing. Yang Hongwu looked at Duan Yan's attack and smiled. He did not move as though it had nothing to do with him. In Duan Yan's eyes, this was mockery. Yes, it was mockery. Duan Yan did not care about his attack at all. Duan Yan was furious at this moment. Boom! There was a muffled sound as the large flaming hand hit an invisible barrier. In the next moment, it exploded. Duan Yan's face darkened. He did not expect that there would be a restriction that blocked his attack. This did not seem to be an ordinary restriction. Even he could not see through it. No wonder this little bastard was not worried at all. He had set up a restriction here. However, it should not have been set up by him. With his cultivation, he was only a 5th-level great sage. It was impossible for him to set up such a powerful restriction to block his attack. There was someone else. Duan Yan could not sense this person's aura at all. This made Duan Yan's face turn gloomy. He was strong, but he was not a fool. The other party's aura was not exposed at all. His strength was definitely not ordinary. Little bastard, you still have a helper. Call him out. Duan Yan looked at Yang Hongwu and said, no matter what, he had to get the red karmic fire lotus back. He could not give it up. Helper. Yang Hongwu shook his head and said, I don't need a helper to deal with a guy like you. I alone am enough. Chapter 1392. Fire God's Blade, extinguish. Duan Yan roared as a blade condensed in his right hand. The blade was filled with destructive power as it was condensed from Duan Yan's flame origin energy. The Fire God's Blade was his weapon. However, the Fire God's Blade was in the hands of his original body. He was just an incarnation and naturally did not possess the real Fire God's Blade. However, he possessed the flame origin energy of the Fire God's Blade. The Fire God's Blade was condensed from the flame origin energy of the Fire God's Blade. The Fire God's Blade was incomparably overbearing. After it appeared, the temperature of the surroundings rose rapidly. Everything in the surroundings seemed to be on the verge of being incinerated. The Fire God's Blade seemed to have the power to tear everything apart. This attack instantly bombarded the barrier. Boom! With a loud bang, the earth quaked and the mountains shook. The entire palace couldn't withstand this tyrannical power. After shaking a few times, the ancient palace collapsed with a loud bang. A smile appeared on Duan Yan's face. Little bastard, let's see if you can survive this time. He had almost borrowed the strength of his original body for this attack. He had used his strongest origin energy. If this attack failed, he would have to contact his original body to descend. Just when Duan Yan thought that everything was foolproof, a clear shout was heard. Killing array, rise! Duan Yan had finally entered the range of the killing array. Of course, Luli would not let him go. Her current strength was not the same as before. She was now at the peak of the half-step true God realm. Moreover, she had a deep understanding of the array Tao. She was connected to Yang Hongwu, and under Yang Hongwu's guidance, she naturally knew when to activate the array. This killing array was the key to the compound array that Yang Hongwu had set up. It was the key to defeating the enemy. With Lu Li's strength at the peak of the half-step true God realm, the power of this killing array was comparable to a true God realm expert. The moment the killing array was activated, Yang Hongwu also activated the outermost sealing array. Naturally, it was the isolation array. This array was to isolate the connection between the fire deity's avatar and the fire deity's original body. If the fire deity's avatar was allowed to communicate with the fire deity's original body, the threat to Yang Hongwu would be extremely great. Although Yang Hongwu had full confidence in the array he had set up, Yang Hongwu's goal was to ensure that nothing would go wrong. There could not be the slightest mistake. The moment the isolation array and the killing array were activated, Duan Yan felt a fear that came from the depths of his soul. It was a terrifying killing intent. Damn it! Duan Yan's expression changed drastically. He realized that he had been enveloped by killing intent. Moreover, what was even more frightening was that he could no longer sense the aura of his original body. This space had been completely sealed off. I've been tricked. At this moment, how could Duan Yan not know that he had been tricked this time around? Furthermore, the other party had come prepared. His expression was extremely gloomy. The fire deity's blade formed by spiritual power blocked in front of him. "Come out, come out!" he shouted loudly. "True dragon kill." Luli snorted coldly. He gathered his spiritual power and poured it into the array. It formed a true dragon and charged towards Duan Yin. Although this attack was not his full strength, it still contained 80% of Lu Li's power. Even if it was only 80% of his power, it was still very frightening. The huge golden dragon carried a terrifying aura. Its sharp dragon claws scratched towards Duan Yan's head. Duan Yan's body seemed so small in front of this huge golden dragon. Duan Yan's expression was extremely solemn. He was the avatar of a true god and had seen a lot of things. He had rich combat experience. The fire deity's blade in his hand once again exploded with intense light. Fire deity's blade, fire dragon kill. He waved the fire deity's blade in his hand. Surging flames erupted and formed a fire dragon. The fire divine dragon had a powerful aura and a trace of dragon's might. However, when Luli saw this scene, he snorted coldly. Although the simulated fire dragon had a trace of dragon's might, it did not have the fire dragon's origin. It could not withstand a single blow from her. Moreover, even if it had the fire dragon's origin, the result would be the same. After all, she was a true divine dragon. Her bloodline rank was even higher than the so-called ancestral dragon. Of course, Yang Hongwu was an exception. The bloodline rank of dragons was very strict. A trace of the fire dragon's might was not worth mentioning in front of Lu Li. Boom! Two dragons, a golden dragon and a flaming dragon, collided with each other in an instant. Violent energy instantly exploded. The surroundings were hit by the violent energy. The fire dragon was instantly shattered, and the fire deity's power exploded. The huge golden dragon was the same. However, they were inside the array. Lu Li snorted, and the killing array revealed its fangs again. Streaks of terrifying killing power appeared in the void. These killing powers condensed into terrifying blades. These blades had actually absorbed the energy from the explosion, becoming even more terrifying. The densely packed blades spun in the void, becoming stronger and more terrifying. Damn dragons! At this moment, Duan Yin knew that his opponent was definitely an expert of the dragons. Moreover, his cultivation was very terrifying and his combat strength was even higher than the Dragon Emperor's. Although he had not seen his opponent's true body, he deeply felt how terrifying his opponent's strength was. He had experienced the strength of the dragons. In the deity domain, his true body was once chased by dragons. Dragons were experts. Their physical bodies were incomparably strong, and their defense was shocking. Ordinary attacks had no effect on the dragons. Moreover, the dragon's spiritual power was very vigorous and far surpassed martial artists of the same level. Right now, the dragon that was facing him was probably at the peak of the half-step true god realm. His combat strength was terrifying, and with the help of the powerful array, his combat strength was very strong. If there was no array, he was confident that he could defeat his opponent. However, he was suppressed by the array, and he was very clear that he was no match for his opponent. Careless, he was too careless. At this moment, he already had the intention to retreat. It was impossible to take back the red karmic fire lotus. The most important thing now was to protect his life and escape from here. If he wanted to escape, he had to break the seal of the array. Moreover, he had to resist the terrifying attack of the dragons. Chapter 1393. Fire Lotus Tribulation. It's not up to you to decide whether it's worth it or not. Lu Li said, "Today you must die." One arrogant tone. "If you want to kill me, let's see if you have the ability to do so." Duan Yin was also extremely furious. This woman did not know how to appreciate his kindness. However, he had no other choice. The current situation was extremely disadvantageous for him. After all, he was only an incarnation, and there was no way for him to be compared with the actual body. He knew that this time around, things did not bode well for him. Therefore, he only had one thought at this moment. That was to break the seal of the formation and transmit his current situation to the actual body. "Fire God's blade, open for me," Duan Yin roared. He did not care about Lu Li's attack. Instead, he used a secret technique to tear open a crack in the space and transmit the message to the divine domain. Yang Hongwu had already seen through Duan Yan's intention. He sneered in his heart. This isolation array was specially arranged by him. The power of this sealed space was the strongest. It was extremely difficult to tear open a crack in it. Unless the other party could kill him, it was impossible to transmit the message. On the other side, Lu Li's killing move finally erupted. Those sharp blades instantly bombarded Duan Yan's body. Kacha! Kacha! The sound of blades piercing into Duan Yan's body could be heard. Although Duan Yan had gathered the power of flames to form a protective shield, it was useless in front of those sharp blades. PFFF! Duan Yan was instantly injured. Such an attack was fatal. At this moment, although Duan Yan was not killed, he was seriously injured. Lu Li's attack had cut off Duan Yan's vitality. At this moment, he did not have any strength to resist. However, what made him despair was that he did not care about his own life. He wanted to tear open a crack and transmit the message. However, everything was in vain. He was unwilling to give up and shouted loudly, "I curse you all! I curse you all to die a horrible death. My real body will find you and tear you all into pieces so that you will never be reincarnated. Dragon soul, devour the heavens, devour." At that moment, Yang Hongwu made his move. A golden dragon soul flew out of his spiritual sea. It opened its mouth and formed a vortex. This vortex was filled with an overbearing, devouring power. This overbearing, devouring power extracted a strand of Duan Yan's soul and swallowed it into the body of the dragon soul. After Duan Yan's primordial spirit was devoured by Yang Hongwu's dragon soul, his aura changed, and his aura kept increasing. Boom! With a muffled sound, the bottleneck of Yang Hongwu's cultivation was broken. His cultivation suddenly rose from the 5th-level Great Sage Realm to the 6th-level Great Sage Realm. At the same time, the red lotus hellfire in Yang Hongwu's body also came out of his divine palace and turned into a fiery light that enveloped Duan Yan. At this moment, Duan Yan still had a lingering thought. When he saw the appearance of the red lotus hellfire and his physical body was shrouded in it, he was in despair. Red lotus hellfire. He had not expected this little bastard to refine the red lotus hellfire and be recognized as its master. He had paid a huge price and spent a lot of time, but he had not been able to refine the red lotus hellfire. However, how long had this little bastard obtained the red lotus hellfire? He had already refined it completely. This made him feel extremely aggrieved. The last trace of consciousness also dissipated in the void unwillingly. After the fire lotus devoured the body of the fire god Duan Yan, its cultivation began to increase. Even though Duan Yan was just an incarnation, he could not be underestimated. He also contained majestic flame energy. This was the origin energy of the fire god Duan Yan. After devouring it, it was naturally of great help to the fire lotus. At this moment, the fire lotus actually showed signs of a breakthrough. The fire lotus was already at level 11. It was only a little bit away from breaking through the bottleneck and entering level 12. Originally, the fire lotus did not know when it would be able to break through the bottleneck. Unexpectedly, after devouring the incarnation of the fire god Duan Yan, the fire lotus actually showed signs of a breakthrough. Boom! With a loud sound, the fire lotus body exploded, forming a huge ball of flame. Following which, the ball of flame continuously wriggled and fused together, undergoing a huge change. In the void, a terrifying thunderbolt condensed. This was the arrival of the heavenly tribulation. Yang Hongwu was overjoyed. He knew that the fire lotus was about to undergo the heavenly tribulation. Once the fire lotus succeeded, it would mean that she would break through the bottleneck and enter level 12. The flame completely burned the body of the fire god Duan Yan. After there was no ash left, Yang Hongwu waved his hand and opened the array. After all, this array was an isolation array. If the array was not opened, the heavenly tribulation would only be able to sense it for a short while before it was blocked. In this way, The fire lotus would not be able to undergo the heavenly tribulation, and it would not be able to transform into a level 12 fire lotus. Luli sensed Yang Hongwu's thought. She turned into a ray of light and instantly entered Yang Hongwu's body and entered the dragon gate. Luli was a dragon. The ancient dragon gate was the supreme treasure of the dragons. After Luli entered the dragon gate, she was pleasantly surprised. The dragon gate could allow her to comprehend the supreme great way. Luli's cultivation had reached a bottleneck. If she wanted to break through the bottleneck and become an expert in the Tai true God realm, it would take a long time. However, with the dragon gate, it would be different. The ancient dragon gate contained the supreme great way that the dragons cultivated. As long as she could comprehend the supreme great way, Luli would be able to break through the bottleneck of half-step true God realm and enter the Tai true God realm in the shortest time possible. As Luli entered the dragon gate, the array set by Yang Hongwu was completely opened. In the sky, terrifying heavenly tribulation clouds condensed instantly. The whole sky was shrouded by the terrifying black clouds. The terrifying coercion made all the animals in the surrounding area feel threatened. This was the coercion of the heavenly way. It was not something that they could withstand. Therefore, these small animals wished that they could grow more legs so that they could escape frantically. In the distance, some experts also felt the terrifying heavenly tribulation. Among them, the heaven-killing sword demon and purple moon demon king were the first to feel it. Chapter 1394. Enhanced tribulation. Yang Hongwu could feel two incomparably powerful divine senses sweeping towards him. He couldn't help but snort coldly. Yang Hongwu obviously knew about these two powerful divine senses. One of them belonged to the purple moon demon king. He couldn't be more familiar with this divine sense. The other divine sense was filled with powerful sword intent. This sword intent was the sword intent that he had sensed when he was in the Sky Sword sect. Therefore, this divine sense should belong to the heaven-killing sword demon. The fire lotus tribulation had attracted the attention of these two fellows. There would be some trouble then. Although Yang Hongwu's divine will was not that strong, it had been tempered by the thunder tribulation of the Great Path. Therefore, Yang Hongwu's divine will burst out and integrated a trace of the law of the thunder tribulation of the Great Path into it. This divine thought instantly collided with the divine thoughts of the heaven-killing sword demon and the purple moon demon king. Bang! In an instant, the overbearing power of thunder erupted. Caught off guard, the two of them were injured by the power of thunder. Their expressions changed greatly, and they immediately withdrew their divine thoughts. Divine thoughts were not the same as the physical body. An injury to one's divine thoughts was much more serious than an injury to the physical body. The blow that Yang Hongwu had just dealt to Purple Moon Demon King and the Heaven-Killing Sword Demon had already seriously injured them. It was absolutely impossible for them to recover without 10 days or half a month. Damn it, who is it? Since it has such a terrifying lightning power. The joint Heaven Sword Demon and the Purple Moon Demon King were both extremely furious and terrified. This was no ordinary power. It was the power of thunder. Moreover, it was the power of thunder from the thunder tribulation of the Great Path. It was even more overbearing than the power of heavenly tribulation. They originally sensed the heavenly tribulation, and then a powerful fiery light appeared. They sensed a divine flame from the distance, so they guessed that this should be a certain divine flame that needed to face tribulation. The divine flame was a supreme treasure. If they could obtain it, it would be of great benefit to them. After all, it was a divine object of the heaven and earth. It was an extremely rare item. If they could obtain it, it would be much better than devouring some chi and blood essence. However, they thought that they had a chance to obtain the divine flame. They didn't expect to be attacked by such a powerful force while they were investigating. They were caught off guard. Moreover, they were very fearful. However, both of them were top figures. Although they were caught off guard and injured by Yang Hongwu's divine thought, they did not give up. At this moment, Yang Hongwu clearly knew that although he had injured the two fellows, he did not relax. This was because he knew that these two fellows would definitely not let this matter rest. Therefore, there would definitely be trouble, but they wouldn't come to him in the near future. Even so, Yang Hongwu did not have much time to waste. They were two powerful demons. Either one of them was comparable to the fire god transformation, Duan Yin. Of course, Yang Hongwu knew that these two fellows would definitely not dare to get close to the area covered by the heavenly tribulation. Once they entered the area covered by the heavenly tribulation, they would be drawn into it. At that time, it would be very troublesome. Their strength was at the peak of the half-step true God realm. Moreover, the two of them contained boundless karma. Once they underwent the tribulation, the heavenly tribulation would very likely turn into a heavenly punishment. That would be quite terrifying. Its power would not be an ordinary heavenly punishment. It would be several times stronger than an ordinary heavenly punishment. Therefore, Yang Hongwu knew very well that the two of them would not come when he was undergoing the tribulation. If they were to come, they would definitely appear after the tribulation. What Yang Hongwu wanted to do was to use the power of the heavenly tribulation to raise his cultivation to another level. Huolian, I'm going to trigger the power of the heavenly tribulation to make it stronger. You have to be careful. Yang Hongwu communicated with Huolian with his spiritual consciousness. Brother, you're going to trigger the power of the heavenly tribulation to make it stronger? Don't tell me you want to resist the heavenly tribulation with me? Huolian's expression changed when she heard it. She looked at Yang Hongwu in shock. Yes. Yang Hongwu nodded and said, yes. You should have felt the two powerful spiritual consciousnesses just now, right? Compared to the incarnation of the fire god Duan Yin, those two divine consciousnesses are only stronger. Moreover, the two of them are too powerful. Just now, when you triggered the heavenly tribulation, they already sensed it. Therefore, after the heavenly tribulation, these two people will definitely appear. But, brother, if you join us and trigger the heavenly tribulation, it will definitely become more terrifying. At that time, will we be able to resist it? Huolian looked at Yang Hongwu worriedly. If I am alone, I have full confidence in overcoming the heavenly tribulation. However, if you join us, the power of the heavenly tribulation will definitely increase exponentially. It will be several times, or even 10 times, more powerful than the original heavenly tribulation. I have no confidence at all. On the contrary, after the heavenly tribulation, I could become a 12th grade red lotus of hellfire. In that case, I should be able to give birth to a divine sense of origin. Once this divine sense appears, we may still have a chance to obtain a chance of survival from the two of them and escape from their blockade. Yang Hongwu knew Huolian's worries and could not help but smile. Huolian, you don't have to worry. In fact, the heavenly tribulation is not a threat to me. Even the heavenly tribulation is the same. As long as it is not the thunder tribulation of the Great Way, I don't have to worry. Ordinary heavenly tribulations not only cannot hurt me, but also can provide me with a huge amount of energy to improve my cultivation. Therefore, no matter whether there is a threat or not, I will join the heavenly tribulation and trigger your heavenly tribulation so that I can devour the power of the thunder tribulation to improve my cultivation. Now my cultivation is in LV6, Great Saint Realm, but I'm still far away from breaking the shackles and entering the Great Emperor Realm. My time is running out. I can feel that the Great Tribulation is coming soon. I must break the shackles of cultivation before the Great Tribulation arrives and break the bottleneck of the Great Saint Realm to enter the Great Emperor Realm. Otherwise, everything will turn into ashes when the Great Tribulation arrives. Hearing Yang Hongwu's words, Huolian did not say anything more. So that's how it is. Huolian nodded. She did not know these, but one thing was clear. Yang Hongwu was not afraid of the power of the heavenly tribulation. Instead, he could use the power of the heavenly tribulation to improve his cultivation. How terrifying was this divine sense? This meant that he did not need to worry about the heavenly tribulation at all. In other words, there was no bottleneck. Even the people around him could use his strength to overcome any heavenly tribulation. Chapter 1395. Seventh level Great Sage Realm. Lian's face turned solemn as she looked at the terrifying tribulation cloud. The power of the thunderbolt had exceeded her ability to withstand it. If she was alone, she would not be able to withstand it. Brother, the tribulation cloud has become terrifying. The heavenly tribulation is far beyond what I can withstand. If we can't withstand it, I'm afraid we will turn into ashes, Huo Lian said as she looked at Yang Hongwu. Don't worry, I'm confident. Yang Hongwu smiled and said, I hope that the heavenly tribulation will be more violent. The more violent the heavenly tribulation is, the more energy I can obtain and the faster my cultivation will improve. However, Yang Hongwu knew that the power of the heavenly tribulation could not be increased without a limit. Otherwise, the heavenly tribulation that he attracted from refining pills and talismans would not have been devoured by him at once. The power of the heavenly tribulation was limited, even after being provoked. Yang Hongwu faintly felt that there was no heaven Tao in this world. In other words, the heavenly tribulation in this world was just the origin law of the world. The origin law had not formed spiritual wisdom and did not have thoughts. It could only rely on the original rules to monitor this world. Therefore, the provocation of the heavenly tribulation was not very useful. Of course, Yang Hongwu's ability to withstand it was also limited. If there was a terrifying heavenly tribulation like the Great Tao Thunder Tribulation, Yang Hongwu would not be able to withstand it in his current situation. However, Yang Hongwu felt that it was impossible to attract the Great Tao Thunder Tribulation in this world with his strength. Unless a true god came and attacked with all his strength, causing the origin law to collapse. In this case, he might be able to trigger the heavenly punishment, the Great Tao Thunder Tribulation, or even the Great Tao Thunder Tribulation. This time's heaven's retribution was within his tolerance range. Yang Hongwu estimated that if he devoured all the power of heaven's retribution this time, although it was impossible for him to directly break through to the Great Emperor realm, it should not be a big problem for him to break through 2 levels and enter the 8th level Great Sage realm. After nurturing for a long time, the first lightning tribulation finally descended. This lightning tribulation was the weakest one. However, because of Yang Hongwu, the first lightning tribulation wasn't this terrifying. Because of Yang Hongwu's participation, the lightning tribulation became even more terrifying. The power of the first lightning tribulation was 10 times stronger than before. I'll help you block 90% of the power of the lightning tribulation. You'll have to block the rest by yourself, Yang Hongwu said to Huo Lian. Got it, brother. Huo Lian nodded. She naturally knew that she had to go through the tempering of the lightning tribulation in order to truly pass the test of the heavenly way. Only then could she truly transform. Otherwise, without going through the test of the lightning tribulation, the transformation wouldn't be complete. In this way, her future achievements would be limited. In fact, for cultivators or living creatures, if they didn't go through the test of the lightning tribulation and went through tempering, their achievements would be limited. On the contrary, the stronger the lightning tribulation, the better the transformation and the greater the improvement in strength. With the help of Yang Hongwu, Huo Lian could raise the test of this lightning tribulation to the extreme. In that way, when Huo Lian transformed into a 12th grade red lotus of hellfire, her strength would also reach the extreme. The premise was that Yang Hongwu could withstand the terrifying power of the lightning tribulation. If he couldn't, then everything would be in vain. Both of them would turn into ashes under the lightning tribulation. Devouring real body. Yang Hongwu snorted coldly. First, he activated the devouring real body to devour the power of the lightning tribulation. When the lightning fell, it contained a majestic power of the lightning tribulation. The power of the lightning tribulation was quickly refined and absorbed by Yang Hongwu to temper his body and improve his cultivation. After Yang Hongwu had devoured 90% of the power of the lightning tribulation, Yang Hongwu released the remaining 10% on Huo Lian's body. Huo Lian was not Yang Hongwu. Her original body was the red lotus of hellfire. Although the red lotus of hellfire was powerful, It had become the top divine fire in the world after merging with the god-destroying heavenly fire and the void divine fire. There were almost no other divine fires that could be compared with it. However, she still had to withstand the terrifying lightning tribulation. She did not have a strong body like Yang Hongwu, so she could not devour and refine the power of the lightning tribulation. She could only withstand it with her original body. Moreover, the transformation of the red lotus of hellfire was more powerful than the lightning tribulation of an ordinary cultivator. Fortunately, she had Yang Hongwu's help. Otherwise, it would not be easy for her to withstand the first lightning tribulation. At that moment, Hulian was still a ball of flame. It condensed into a human figure and did not transform into her original body. From this, it could be seen that Hulian was far from reaching her limit. The second lightning tribulation is coming. Yang Hongwu reminded, this lightning tribulation is twice as powerful as the previous one. You have to be careful. Hulian nodded and said, I know. I am confident that I can withstand it. If I can't even withstand the second lightning tribulation, how can I withstand all the lightning tribulations? Can I overcome the heavenly tribulations? Hulian was very confident. The second lightning tribulation descended and condensed into a lightning bolt that was as thick as a bowl. It instantly blasted down. In an instant, it landed on the two of them. Kacha kacha! When the lightning tribulation fell, the lightning flashed. In the blink of an eye, Yang Hongwu and Hulian were wrapped in the purple lightning. Yang Hongwu released his spiritual power and formed a shield to protect Hulian. The power of the lightning tribulation entered Yang Hongwu's body. 90% of the power of the lightning tribulation was devoured and refined by Yang Hongwu. The remaining 10% was released to Hulian for her to refine her physical body. Soon, the second lightning tribulation was devoured and refined by Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu's cultivation also increased a little. However, it was still far from breaking through the bottleneck of the 6th level Great Sage realm and entering the 7th level. Immediately after, the third lightning tribulation descended, followed by the fourth. The interval between each lightning tribulation was getting shorter and shorter. For Yang Hongwu, refining the power of the lightning tribulation was a little difficult, let alone Hulian. At this time, Hulian had transformed into her original body. A swaying fiery red lotus was her original body, the red karmic fire lotus. However, the strange thing was that there were arcs of lightning flickering on this enchanting and beautiful fiery red lotus. These arcs of lightning caused the fiery lotus to become even more beautiful and enchanting. Can you still hold on? Yang Hongwu asked Hulian. Chapter 1396. Void Lightning Beast, the 9th Lightning Tribulation finally descended. This 9th lightning tribulation was scarier than the previous 9 lightning tribulations. This time, it formed a huge purple-black lightning ball. A huge purple-black lightning ball fell on Yang Hongwu's body. Yang Hongwu was instantly shrouded in lightning. At this moment, the Devourer true body erupted to the extreme. Yang Hongwu devoured frantically. Yang Hongwu felt that his spiritual power had been condensed to the extreme. With a muffled sound, a bottleneck in his body was broken, and his cultivation broke through to the 7th level Great Sage realm. After the breakthrough, Yang Hongwu's speed of devouring the lightning tribulation became even faster. Hulian heaved a sigh of relief when she saw Yang Hongwu's breakthrough. The lightning ball gave her too much pressure. It was only the 9th lightning tribulation, and it was already so terrifying. How could she withstand the next few lightning tribulations, or even dozens of lightning tribulations? The power of the lightning tribulation was beyond her imagination. It wasn't something she could withstand. Now, she could only place all her hopes on Yang Hongwu. Good. Yang Hongwu also knew that the fire lotus had almost reached its limit at this time. Then, the remaining power of the lightning tribulation would all be devoured by him. The corners of Yang Hongwu's mouth curled into a smile. His devouring true body, immortal dragon body, and demon-devouring runes erupted to the extreme. Yang Hongwu's entire being seemed to have turned into a huge, devouring vortex, madly devouring the power of thunder. The huge lightning balls fell one by one and were devoured by Yang Hongwu. No matter how many came, they would all be devoured. At this moment, Yang Hongwu was like a bottomless pit. "Come on, let's have a little more fun." Yang Hongwu shouted, more violent. Huo Lian was stunned. She didn't expect Yang Hongwu to be so powerful. The terrifying lightning tribulation was like a tonic in front of him. It was to enhance his cultivation. She opened her mouth. She knew that this heavenly tribulation should not be a problem this time. However, Huo Lian was also a little worried. She was worried that if the heavenly tribulation was completely enraged, it might cause a mutation in the heavenly tribulation. If it became a heavenly punishment, then it would be troublesome. Although heavenly punishment and heavenly tribulation only differed by one word, they couldn't be mentioned in the same breath. The difference between them was like the difference between heaven and earth. After 30 breaths, the power of the ninth tribulation lightning had been completely devoured by Yang Hongwu. However, his cultivation base had not improved. He had not broken through the bottleneck of the 7th layer to reach the 8th layer. Yang Hongwu discovered that it was becoming increasingly difficult for him to raise his cultivation base. The energy required to break through from the 7th layer to the 8th layer was actually 10 times that of the 7th layer. Based on this logic, wouldn't the energy required to break through from the 8th level to the 9th level be 10 times more than the energy required to break through from the 8th level? Then, if he wanted to break through the shackles of the Great Emperor Realm and enter the Great Emperor Realm from the peak of the Great Sage Realm, he didn't know how much energy he would need to consume. It was simply an astronomical figure that was difficult to estimate. Therefore, it was too difficult to find resources in this mortal continent that could allow him to break through the shackles and enter the Great Emperor Realm. Then, the only way was to borrow the power of the heavenly tribulation and even the power of heavenly punishment to let him break through. This was the fastest, quickest, and also the easiest way to do it. After the 9th tribulation lightning had passed, Huo Lian was relieved. At this time, she began to recover and her aura became stronger. The 12th petal had begun to condense and take shape. As long as the 12th lotus petal was completely condensed and formed, then her strength would skyrocket. In this way, it would be easier for her to resist the power of the heavenly tribulation. However, condensing the 12th lotus petal was not an easy task. She had to remove the impurities in the origin energy of the fire god Duan Yin that she had devoured. This was the key. If the energy wasn't pure, it wouldn't be easy for her to break through the shackles. Therefore, this heavenly tribulation wasn't just a test for her, it was also an opportunity for her. If she were to refine the origin energy by herself, it would be much more difficult. However, it would be much easier with the help of the power of the heavenly tribulation. Rumble, rumble. A loud sound was heard. The tribulation clouds in the sky seemed to be angered and became even more terrifying. A terrifying image condensed in the void, as if it had turned into a terrifying exotic beast. It was an ancient lightning beast. It had huge eyes, terrifying fangs, and long curved horns. Its entire body was purple, surrounded by bolts of lightning. Lightning beast. It actually gave birth to a lightning beast. Huo Lian was shocked when she saw the huge exotic beast. Her face changed drastically. This is a void lightning beast. How is it possible? Void lightning beast. Yang Hongwu had never heard of it. When facing heavenly tribulation and heavenly punishment, Yang Hongwu had seen the terrifying projection of the lightning spear and the destruction spear. They were both terrifying projections of divine weapons. They were real Dominator divine weapons, and they were definitely powerful existences. The lightning spear was the weapon of God Thunder King, and the destruction spear was the weapon of God Destroying King. It was rumored that both God Thunder King and God Destroying King were existences that had surpassed divine realm, and they were supreme existences. However, the two experts had disappeared for countless years. It was rumored that the two of them had entered the creation heavenly gate to explore the secrets of the creation great way in the creation heavenly gate. What is that? Yang Hongwu asked. I have seen the projection of the lightning spear, but I have never seen this lightning beast. Lightning spear? Hulian was shocked when she heard. Back when she had been captured by the fire god, she had heard that someone had encountered the lightning spear during heavenly tribulation. It was an extremely terrifying existence, and it would only appear during heavenly punishment. Compared to the lightning spear, the void lightning beast paled in comparison. Even if it was the projection of the lightning spear, it was the same. It was rumored that ever since God Thunder King had entered the creation heavenly gate to explore the ancient creation great way, no one had encountered the lightning spear during heavenly tribulation or heavenly punishment. It was unexpected that Yang Hongwu had encountered the projection of the lightning spear. Big brother, this void lightning beast is simply incomparable to the lightning spear. If Big brother is not even afraid of the lightning spear, then this mere void lightning beast will naturally be nothing to you. Hulian said, however, brother, you have to be careful. This void lightning beast has the power to travel through the void. It will appear in front of you in an instant and launch an attack. Just as she finished speaking, the void lightning beast disappeared in an instant. Humph! Yang Hongwu harumphed. Even though the secret technique of the void thunderous beast was powerful, it could not escape his senses. Chapter 1397. Powerful after sensing the void thunder beast's presence, Yang Hongwu threw out a punch. The punch landed heavily on the void thunder beast position, instantly knocking it down. Roar! The void thunder beast let out a furious roar. This punch had seriously injured the void thunder beast. The void thunder beast hadn't expected this human to be so powerful that he could find its position. Its void travel ability was like nothing in front of this human. However, the void thunder beast wasn't very intelligent. After Yang Hongwu injured it, it became even more enraged. The void thunder beast didn't escape into the void. Instead, it attacked Yang Hongwu. Its speed was extremely fast. Its huge body was surrounded by lightning. Its sharp claws swiped at Yang Hongwu. It wanted to tear Yang Hongwu to pieces. The space started to crumble under the void thunder beast's sharp claws. It was clear how powerful and domineering the void thunder beast was. However, the void lightning beast's estimation was wrong. Using the power of lightning against Yang Hongwu was ultimately futile. If it had been any other power, Yang Hongwu might not have been able to deal with it so easily. It would not have been so easy. After all, Yang Hongwu was someone who had comprehended a trace of the power of the Great Tao Lightning Tribulation. Just this trace of the power of the law of the Great Tao Lightning Tribulation had far surpassed the power of the Heavenly Tribulation and the existence of the Heavenly Tao. Therefore, it could be said that Yang Hongwu's current physique was stronger than the so-called Heavenly Lightning Body or Heavenly Lightning Sacred Body. His affinity with the power of lightning far surpassed other elements. Thus, even though the void lightning beasts were powerful, they were still using the power of lightning to attack Yang Hongwu. No matter what, unless the power of the lightning far surpassed Yang Hongwu's limits, if it did not break through Yang Hongwu's limits, the lightning would only provide him with energy when it struck him. Demon Devouring Rune, Refine. Yang Hongwu shouted. With a wave of his right hand, the rune instantly condensed and blocked in front of him. It formed a vortex. This vortex formed a huge devouring power. In the blink of an eye, it devoured the void thunder beast's sharp claws. Under the terrifying devouring power, the huge claws shrunk continuously. The speed at which they shrank became faster and faster. In a few breaths' time, the huge claws of the void thunder beast had shrunk by more than half. The originally arrogant void thunder beast had become extremely small. What a powerful cultivation. Hulian was pleasantly surprised. As expected of someone who had seen the lightning spear. He was actually so powerful. The void lightning beast couldn't even withstand a single blow from him. It was too shocking. What a domineering power. Ability. Although Yang Hongwu had devoured a portion of its power, the void thunder beast didn't seem to be afraid of death. Yang Hongwu knew that the void thunder beast was formed by the power of thunder. It wasn't a real void thunder beast. Just like the lightning spear, The real lightning spear wouldn't appear in the heavenly tribulation. It would only appear as a projection. Of course, it would be different if it was the Great Path Thunder Tribulation. The real Void Thunder Beast, or rather, the lightning spear, might appear. The power of the Great Path wasn't something that ordinary people could imagine. Yang Hongwu was still far from reaching that level. Therefore, he didn't know much about it and didn't need to. If Yang Hongwu really reached the Tai, true God realm, he could consider it. Devour. Devour everything. The demon devouring rune. The devouring runes devouring true body devouring rune started devouring crazily. This time, the Void Thunder Beast was completely devoured. Yang Hongwu's aura became much stronger. However, Yang Hongwu was still a long way from breaking through. It would be difficult for him to break through in a short period of time. Come on, come on. Yang Hongwu looked at the tribulation cloud in the sky and shouted loudly. Not far away, two experts appeared. These two experts were none other than the heaven-killing sword demon and the purple moon demon king. Previously, when the two of them tried to probe with their divine consciousness, they were bombarded by Yang Hongwu's lightning spear and suffered a lot of damage. However, the two of them wouldn't give up so easily. Of course, they didn't dare to enter the range of the heavenly tribulation. They watched Yang Hongwu and Hua Lian go through the heavenly tribulation from afar. Once the heavenly tribulation was over, the two of them would find an opportunity to take action and seize the divine fire. When the two of them saw that Yang Hongwu was so domineering and dared to challenge the heavenly tribulation, they were shocked. They were shocked. They were extremely shocked. The heaven-killing sword demon didn't feel anything about Yang Hongwu. Although Yang Hongwu had entered the sword tomb of the Sky Sword sect, he naturally sensed it. However, he didn't expect Yang Hongwu to be so powerful. As for the Purple Moon Demon King, it was different. Yang Hongwu had once killed his incarnation. Instinctively, the Purple Moon Demon King didn't have a good impression of Yang Hongwu. Seeing Yang Hongwu's domineering attitude, he frowned. Yang Hongwu also sensed their appearance. Now, he couldn't care less. Since the two of them had come in advance, Yang Hongwu couldn't do anything about it. After all, he couldn't send his incarnation out to drive the two of them away. Although he had the chi into Trinity's secret skill and could send his incarnation, so what if he sent his incarnation? Yang Hongwu didn't have enough strength to deal with the two of them. Therefore, he might as well ignore them. Anyway, the two of them wouldn't attack him before the heavenly tribulation dispersed. Of course, Yang Hongwu also had an idea at this moment. Since the two of them wanted to take advantage of the situation, he would give them a big surprise later. Thinking of this, Yang Hongwu's lips curved into a smile. Another heavenly tribulation came down. This time, the thunderbolt power condensed was even more terrifying. It seemed that a powerful existence was being nurtured in the void. It was to deal with Yang Hongwu, who dared to provoke the heavenly tribulation. The heavenly tribulation is going to mutate and become more powerful. At this moment, Hulian was no longer worried. After seeing Yang Hongwu's powerful strength, she was even a little excited. At this moment, her 12th lotus petal had already condensed into a shadow. As long as there was enough time, the 12th lotus petal would completely take shape. Brother, I need energy. I'm going to condense it. Hua Lian communicated with Yang Hongwu. Chapter 1398. Heavenly Tribulation Changing into Heavenly Punishment. What is he doing? Is he crazy? Seeing Yang Hongwu's actions, everyone was dumbfounded. At this moment, outside the range of the heaven's tribulation, many experts had also arrived. It was a good thing for the experts to undergo the heaven's tribulation. Of course, many people would come to observe. For those who had not undergone the heaven's tribulation, this was an excellent opportunity. For any cultivator, observing the battle of experts and witnessing experts undergoing the heaven's tribulation was a great benefit. If they encountered some super monstrous geniuses who survived the heavenly tribulation, the heavens would bestow rewards, such as flowers falling from the sky, golden lotuses sprouting from the ground, and so on. A series of strange phenomena would appear, and these strange phenomena would be of great benefit to them. However, since ancient times, very few people were able to cause such an abnormal sign. Even though there were very few people who could trigger the worldly phenomenon and the worldly celebration, once the tribulation was over, the heavens would still reward them. Moreover, this was the best time for them to comprehend the laws. This was true for those who were watching the tribulation transcendence. But it wasn't the case for the person who was transcending the tribulation. These people who came to watch the tribulation transcendence might become a tribulation for the person who is transcending the tribulation. In other words, after passing the heavenly tribulation, one would not be considered to have truly completed the test. These people would make a move on the person undergoing the heavenly tribulation, especially for heavenly treasures or strange beasts. This was the case for the flame lotus. If someone found her after crossing the heavenly tribulation, they would think of ways to obtain her and take her for their own use. This was also a test. It was the same for cultivators undergoing their tribulations. After overcoming the heavenly lightning, there might be enemies or greedy people who wanted to steal their treasures. This became another test, the human tribulation. Back then, when Yang Hongwu was crossing the tribulation, the thunder tribulation of the Great Path, it was also like this. The heavenly path of that world, Yang Hongwu's sworn enemy, Zi Tian, had appeared. This was his human tribulation. The spectators, including the heaven-killing sword demon and the purple moon demon king, were actually facing the human tribulation of Fire Lotus. However, the human tribulation had changed with the help of Yang Hongwu. It was the same with heavenly tribulations. Bring it on. Yang Hongwu let out a furious roar. He grabbed the lump of heavenly tribulation energy and absorbed it into his body. After a round of refinement, he refined the berserk energy and transferred it to the Fire Lotus. This power should be enough to completely condense your 12th grade lotus flower, right? Yang Hongwu said to Huolian. It's enough, it's enough. Huolian was pleasantly surprised. All of this was out of Huolian's expectation. He didn't expect Yang Hongwu to be so powerful. He was able to grab and refine the original power of the heavenly tribulation that had yet to descend. How tyrannical and ferocious was this? The people watching this scene from afar were also dumbfounded. Ferocious, too ferocious. Was he still human? It was actually so powerful and so tyrannical. Heavenly tribulation. This was a heavenly tribulation. Some cultivators even wondered if this was a fake heavenly tribulation. However, this was just a thought. Some people even guessed that Yang Hongwu might be the legendary illegitimate son of the heavenly Tao, or perhaps the illegitimate son of the heavenly tribulation. The heavenly tribulation seemed to be enraged. No one had ever been so bold as to seize its original power. Abominable, too abominable. The tribulation cloud in the sky changed again and gradually formed a huge eye. This huge eye contained a terrifying power. This destructive thunderbolt power came from a part of the void. This was the ancient thunderbolt power. Heavenly punishment. This guy has angered the heavens. The heavenly tribulation has become a heavenly punishment. My God, the heavenly tribulation has become a heavenly punishment. He's courting death. The cultivators watching from afar were all dumbfounded. No one had ever encountered such a situation when crossing a tribulation. He actually courted death and turned the heavenly tribulation into a heavenly punishment. Huolian, who had not had time to refine all the energy that Yang Hongwu gave her, was also stunned at this time. This sudden change caused her to be extremely alarmed. Her heavenly tribulation had become a heavenly punishment. How could she not be terrified? This was not something ordinary. This was a heavenly punishment. From a heavenly tribulation to a heavenly punishment, this was an essential change. The heavenly tribulation was a test from the heavens. It was a test for cultivators. As long as they passed the test, they could transform and reach a higher level. However, a heavenly punishment was different. A heavenly punishment was a punishment. This was no longer a test. What did the word punishment mean? It meant destruction. It meant that the heavenly punishment was no longer recognized by the heavens. It wanted to destroy it and make it disappear completely. Let's go, let's go, let's go. This is no longer a heavenly tribulation. It's a heavenly punishment. If we're affected by it, will be dead for sure. Some people realized this and immediately flew into the sky, flying even further away. The coverage of the heavenly tribulation was already terrifying. Now that it had become a heavenly punishment, the coverage was naturally larger and more terrifying. Even the purple moon demon king and the heaven-killing sword demon were stunned. This guy was a complete madman. It was the first time they had seen a heavenly tribulation become a heavenly punishment. Even if he wanted to die, he didn't have to use this method. Although everyone saw that Yang Hongwu could easily devour and refine the heavenly tribulation lightning, they didn't think that Yang Hongwu could also refine and devour a heavenly punishment. Even if he could, there was a process and there was a limit. Once the limit was exceeded, his body, spirit, and even soul would collapse, and he would die completely. Brother, how did the heavenly tribulation become a heavenly punishment? What should we do now? Huo Yin was anxious and forgot to refine the origin energy. Heavenly punishment, just in time. Huo Yin, you can refine the energy I gave you and quickly improve it. As for the heavenly punishment, you don't have to worry. I'll resist it. Since I dared to attract the heavenly punishment, I naturally have the confidence to deal with it. Yang Hongwu laughed. If it was just a heavenly tribulation, his cultivation could break through 2 small realms at most. Even 1 small realm would be the limit. However, the heavenly punishment was different. The power of the heavenly punishment was much stronger than that of the heavenly tribulation. Perhaps it could directly promote him to the peak of the Great Sage realm, or even enter the half-step Great Emperor realm. TSK. If I execute that plan again, I might be able to make Tian Fa even stronger. At that time, I might be able to reach the heavens in a single bound. I might even be able to break through the bottleneck of the Great Saint realm and enter the Great Emperor realm. Yang Hongwu didn't dare to relax and hurriedly sent his divine intent into it. Although he used his magic power, divine flame, and other forces to create it, Yang Hongwu didn't want to lose control. This was Yang Hongwu's first risk. This risk was very impulsive. Yang Hongwu had never tried such a method before. If he succeeded, it would be equivalent to Yang Hongwu creating a tyrannical secret technique. This secret technique could be said to be all-encompassing. However, if Yang Hongwu failed, the consequences would be very frightening. If he failed, Yang Hongwu would suffer a terrifying backlash. This would definitely injure him, and it wouldn't be a light injury. In addition, there was one more thing. The eye of divine punishment was still staring at him. The divine punishment hadn't dissipated. If he failed, the divine punishment wouldn't be merciful. It wouldn't dissipate just because he was injured. Instead, it would continue to bombard him until he was completely killed by the divine punishment. In other words, both of their auras would completely disappear from his plane. What is he doing? Is that a powerful secret technique? It seems like he's not very familiar with it. Everyone present widened their eyes when they saw Yang Hongwu using this secret technique. Although they didn't know what kind of secret technique Yang Hongwu was using, this secret technique was very powerful. If it was used, it would be very terrifying. Both the sky-killing sword demon and the purple moon demon king felt a trace of fear. Yes, they felt a trace of fear towards this terrifying secret technique. This fear came from the depths of their souls. Even the eye of divine punishment seemed to feel a great threat. They couldn't let Yang Hongwu succeed. Therefore, before the first thunder tribulation bombarded Yang Hongwu, the second thunder tribulation had already begun to condense and fell. Devouring furnace, condense. The first thunder tribulation had already bombarded Yang Hongwu's body. At this moment, Yang Hongwu's body had been pierced by the condensed thunder spear. Blood spilled out. Because Yang Hongwu was using all his strength to condense this cauldron and complete this unprecedented and terrifying secret technique. He didn't use magic power to block this lightning tribulation. Instead, he used his physical body to block this attack. Brother, seeing Yang Hongwu injured, Huo Yin was shocked. She stopped absorbing energy and looked at Yang Hongwu with extreme worry. That guy's going to fail. He's digging his own grave. He doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. He actually dared to provoke the heavenly tribulation, causing the heavens to be dissatisfied and send down heavenly punishment. He's digging his own grave. The people who were watching Yang Hongwu from afar were all discussing. Some felt pity, some mocked. However, they were all terrified. Such a person was too terrifying. If he could even pass through heavenly punishment, who could resist him? If he were to succeed, who would be his opponent in this common people's continent? At that time, no one would be able to subdue him. No one would be able to suppress him. Who would want to see the birth of a supreme and terrifying existence? Therefore, even if some people sighed, felt pity for Yang Hongwu, and sympathized with Yang Hongwu, no one wanted to see Yang Hongwu succeed. Among them, the ones who didn't want to see Yang Hongwu succeed the most were the sky-killing sword demon and the purple moon demon king. The purple moon demon king wanted Yang Hongwu to fail more than the sky-killing sword demon. He's dead for sure. I want to get his secret technique. The sky-killing sword demon and the purple moon demon king had such a strong thought. The others also had the same thought. Like a nightmare, a mysterious power was spreading. The people who were watching Yang Hongwu's tribulation all had the same thought. At this moment, even Huo Yin had such a thought. However, it was quickly erased. The sky-killing sword demon and the purple moon demon king were also experts. This thought was also erased in an instant. A trace of fear was born in their hearts. How strong were their minds? Their hearts were as firm as a rock. However, they had such a thought. Terrifying, terrifying. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.